which doesn't even go to Twitch. It goes to a special box that then goes to the commentators for that event. Holy shit, why do I have so many messages from Whoa. Okay.
What?
I just got a shit ton of messages on Discord.
Yeah, I mean, you were off in online Skype, like, you would pop on Skype for a millisecond and pop off, like, go offline, so... Maybe something with your internet?
No, it was a bot that sent me a bunch of messages. Okay. Yeah, no. I was actually streaming to like a different server entirely that nobody could see except for the commentators for the Crypt of the Necrodancer tournament. Because they have their own special thing that they use, and then they like rehost it from there so that it's low latency for commentary purposes. And that took a lot of effort to set up, because it didn't work originally because of different ISPs and stuff. Let me just set up a tweet here. Okie doke. And let me just double check on Twitch that it's actually showing my thing. It said I was streaming, but I'm just gonna make sure I have a stream that is visible. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. Chatty saying my stream's live, so there we go. Cool.
Stream alive.
Stream alive. Alright, let me see.
Remember live stream?
I still use that sometimes. When I want to stream out movies, or things that aren't games. I hear that ladies find the vocal fry register very sexy.
Oh, okay, Dan McNeely.
Alright, what the fuck were we doing? Oh yeah.
Did you go to the tower?
Lavender
Tower?
Lavender Tower? Wait, no.
Did we beat that yet, or?
I don't know. We can just get into, what is this? The SILPH CO building.
The SILPH building, yeah. Okay, so I think we beat the tower.
Yeah, well, cause yeah, I don't remember.
Well, what Pokemon do we have?
All our usuals. Oh yeah, we have this guy too. What does he even do? Oh yeah, he turns into a dragon later. Right now he's just rock ground.
Yeah.
Yo, what up, Rocket? You know what I'm up? My life as a criminal makes me feel so alive. Colonel, I feel so safe inside this box. Like I'm at one with the universe.
First of all, that was not the Colonel, that was Major Zero.
Well, okay, and he was also talking to,
Yeah, he was also talking to Sigget.
Yeah, Sigint, that was the guy's name.
Yeah.
The only person I remember from 3 was, is Paramedic.
Well, Sigget shows up later, turns out he's the DARPA chief.
Right, that's in the epilogue. I remember that now.
Yeah.
And then Paramedic goes on to start the idea of paramedics.
And also is responsible for the Cyborg Ninja program.
Yeah, why not? It's a free country.
Even though the Dr. Clock was identified as male in the first game, they retconned it, saying that paramedic is just became very secretive.
Apparently.
People just assumed it was a guy because sexism.
Yeah, you know, it happens.
I mean, it's also fitting because she ends up making, you know, she loves monster movies and ends up making monsters.
It's true. Or wasn't she a fan of like just all old movies?
Well, I mean, they weren't old at the time. Like, she liked Godzilla and like a bunch of other like sci-fi horror movies. I think. You know, which once again fitting that she is the one who made the Cyborg Ninja program.
Yeah. I think also my favorite exchange in there is like Snake and Sigint talking about shit, not Metal Gear. What's the robot in 3?
That's the Shagalot.
Right, the Shagahod, and how it's like, yeah, how it's on treads and stuff, and Snake asked Sigint if it would what if they put legs on? And he's like, well, that would be just really impractical.
Also, they actually, yeah, that because it comes up. I think that because he talks to the guy who came up with the concept of Metal Gears. I think after that, the guy who talks about the missing link and is drunk all the time.
Oh right, yeah. Who doesn't even give a shit that Snake's a spy?
Like, he doesn't give a shit about most things. And yeah, and then that guy also turned out to send a bunch of his research notes to Otacon's dad, Huey, and then Huey makes the actual first Metal Gears.
Right.
But those all get destroyed before they become public, so, like, the first Metal Gear anyone knows about is the THX, which was made by some other guy. Because after that, because Huey's kind of a dick, and Big Boss, I guess, didn't want to work with him anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Huey is kind of like a horrible person. You know, I guess, you know, it's telling that after, you know, building Metal Gear X, Otacon starts an organization to make sure Metal Gears aren't proliferated. And after building Peace Walker, Huey decides to just build a bunch of other giant nuclear robots because that's a good idea.
You know, he found a thing he was good at, and he found someone to pay him for it, and like that's what you have to do in life. He's achieving his career goals.
Also, speaking of Hueys, you want to know what I found out recently?
What's up?
The Huey is not the actual original name of the Huey. It was named like most helicopters, like after a Native American tribe, so it's the Iroquois. But it was originally designated HU, and so people just call it the Huey.
Right, yeah. Just like how the Jeep was like short for like what, government property or something.
Yeah, I know the Warthog also has like a different name, but people just call it the Warthog. You know, the plane that
the plane that was built to hold a gun. It's just a flying weapons platform. I remember Drew Scanlon was talking about that during the Warthog simulator game. That you have to fire the Warthog autocannon in bursts because it's so powerful that it actually slows the plane down.
Speaking of planes, I think the as of recently, the F-35 is still a money sink.
What's the special thing about the F-35?
Okay, it's one of the many U.S. attempts at VTOLs. We've had the Harrier, which was kind of mediocre.
It was also
The
a money
Osprey,
sink.
which worked, but it was prone to catastrophic failures.
Yeah.
You know, but it still works, and we're still using it.
Oh, I thought we retired the Osprey.
No, we built it, so we're gonna use it. And the F-35 thing is that it only under very specific conditions can it take off. Like our temperature has to be exactly right, and the winds have to be at like so and so. Like it has to. They cannot get this thing to lift off. You know, do actual VTOL shit or anything.
So what's like special about its VTOL system? Because the Harrier just had jets that just rotated, as far as I remember.
I don't know. It's like a more advanced. All I know is it doesn't work.
Or is the F-35 like thrust vectoring and shit?
I don't know. It was supposed to be because the F-22 can't go on like aircraft carriers and shit. Like, it was supposed to be like, oh, the plane we put on aircraft carriers.
Right. Yeah. That's sort of. I guess that's sort of the idea for all those VTOL. Like that's the whole thing about the Osprey is also that it can like fold up, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it could. Yeah. The Osprey is the one that has like it's a rotary plane that turns into like a weird helicopter thing.
Yeah, because the wings go upwards, and I think for storage the wings like fold in half and stuff. I
recently watched a stream where a bunch of people watched Read or Die, and there's an Osprey in that, and they were just talking about how, like, you know, how fragile the Osprey, like, how it's just prone to just fucking up constantly.
Yeah, because it's got a lot of moving. It's got a lot of moving parts on parts that normally don't move.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole reason that that Spaceship 2 exploded, was because of its, like, complicated re-entry, like, feathering system. Like, one of the things, the thing wasn't locked in place, and so, when they fired the engine to, like, you know, actually, like, launch into space, the tail just ripped off and the whole thing just disintegrated.
It's like in Kerbal Space Program.
Oh shit, this guy's a cop.
He's undercover.
At least he told me he was a cop.
Oh yeah, it was an entrapment. But yeah, I think people pointed like the F-35 is right now experiencing the same thing that the you ever seen the clip from that Panama Papers movie about the Bradley?
No.
It's just basically like going on like this. It goes over the process of years of this guy designing the Bradley, and each time like the generals he's presenting it to want something different out of it. Like, oh, it needs like things that so people can shoot out of, because it originally was just like a American version of the Russian troop transport things.
Yeah, it was just an APC.
Yeah, it's just an APC, and they're like, oh, it needs like a fucking thing so our guys can shoot out of it. Oh, it needs less. It needs more armor. It needs it involved it losing most of its armor so it can do well against tanks. And then also having a cramped space so it couldn't fit as much people. And actually, the most ingenious part was then oh, we need something to fight tanks with this thing with. And like the guy's like, and like the guy's talking to the guy designing I can't put anything on, fit anything more into this unless I put a hat on it. And that's why Bradley has like the missile launcher hat. And it ended up working out because we ended up fighting countries that don't have tanks. or not very good tanks. And when we have to deal with tanks, they're usually we deal with them far away with helicopters. Like, the Bradley's good, okay against, you know, infantry.
It's a vehicle, like, its initial reason for being was to transport people and, like, suppress small arms fire.
Yeah. But it just, you know, due to, like, all, like, these generals interfering, like, it basically turned into, like, a thing that can only do that, and, like, if it's shitty, you know, it's not a good troop transport, for, like, big squads,
Yeah, it's shitty at everything because they tried to make it, like, do too many things, yeah.
Yeah. Which it once again worked out because the Cold War ended and we didn't have to worry about fighting a developed nation anymore.
It worked out because we didn't actually need it.
I mean, it worked good in Desert Storm because, you know, we were fighting with a army with 1960s technology with 1980s technology and didn't decide to stick around.
Yeah.
That was the big important part about Desert War. We didn't
disband an entire country's army.
We were like, okay, we had clear objectives, which is the liberation of Kuwait, you know, and it was mostly a defensive thing. Like, we are protecting Saudi Arabia from this invading army. So we could get, you know, there was a big international support for it, so it wasn't mostly just the US.
Yeah, we weren't trying to fight a concept.
And most of the actual US casualties came from friendly fire. I was born around Desert Storm, so I know kind of a few things about it.
Just like, what, looking up stuff around when you were born? Or
no, mostly like my uncle talking about, like, watching, like, the footage that had been released around, like, Desert Storm of this. All, like, the helicopter and, like, cameras from inside missiles that got released to the public of just ship blowing up.
Right, yeah, because we had all this footage.
We did send some special forces in there into actual interior Iraq, and things did not go well for them, to say the least. But yeah, mostly the most we did in Iraq, in like actual Iraq, was like just send in Air Force stuff, like, you know, planes and
we just destroyed installations and like all the things they needed to be effective in war.
And then while they were pulling out Kuwait, we just decimated their, like, army while they were fleeing.
Right.
Which was another reason why we kind of stopped soon after that, because, like, we're like, wait, this is kind of fucked up. These guys are running away, and we're just blowing the crap out of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, war is kind of bad.
Yeah, no,
Even when you're like a cyber army that can't be, you know, hit by anything. Because it still sucks for the other guy.
Yeah, no, I think it's a pretty commonly held idea that war isn't good.
I don't know, I think that's more of a... I think the idea that war isn't good is kind of a modern concept when you think about it.
Well, okay, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. In the modern day, we're not like seeking glory. We're not seeking glory and death on the battlefield.
I mean, war is not nearly as profitable also as it was back in the day because we make everything with machines.
And also, everything's not only made with machines, but made with machines in China.
And also a very expensive machine. We make very expensive machines that if we lose one cost a lot. Which is still more preferable to an actual dude who also, you know, both morally costs a lot and, you know,
Training costs a lot, yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me, I forget if it was like, I forget it was one comic where, like it was doing the whole, like, I want to say this might have been, Black Widow, but, like, one of the, like, a comic person, like, it was that classic cliche where, like, you raise a dog and then, like, you, like, your general tells you to kill it so you can, prove your loyalty. Or like an officer, and the person ended up killing the officer, and like they were at, like during the court martial she explained, well, like we've got a bunch of these officers and training them is easy. Dogs are really hard to train to do these specific things. The dog is probably worth more than tactically than that guy. Which, of course, then reminds me of another thing mentioned in Metal Gear Solid 3 of the Soviet tank dogs.
Oh yeah, and then there were, and I remember that was a thing during. Well, what were the Soviet tank dogs? Because I know in World War II, America had the bunker dog.
The tank dogs were Soviets trained dogs to run under tanks and then explode like suicide.
Yeah,
bombs.
that's the same thing that bunker dogs were.
But the problem was, the Soviets used their own tanks to train them, so that the dogs would go for Soviet tanks as opposed to enemy tanks.
Ooh, yeah, that's problematic.
Kind of like also the bat bombs we tried to invent to fight the Japanese.
Yeah, which, well, I'm not gonna say fortunately, but we never ended up using them because we invented a far more devastating weapon.
But in the testing, yeah, the testing of those, it worked, but they all flew into, like, the aircraft silo they were testing, at the airbase they were testing at, and started a huge fire.
Yeah, that's, like, I think the bat bomb's, like, still the craziest weapon I've heard about. It's like, we're gonna launch a bunch of bats, and also they're gonna be on fire.
No, there were a bunch of crazy weapons in World War II, like the Japanese jet, the Oka, which was a glorified missile you put a person in to drive it in with. Yeah,
and then the Japanese, like the last hurrah of the Japanese, like their last ditch effort to fight back against American bombing was like their crazy like jet stream balloon bombs.
They also had, like, I think a plane that shot, like, it was a plane that had a gun in the, like, that pointed up, so it could shoot up at bombers.
I know that was the Messerschmitt rocket plane had that, because, none of its other guns were effective. Because it was too fast, and it was too small to be fitted with rockets or anything like that. So conventional machine guns were ineffective. So what they did was, mount a bunch of gun barrels on the sides of it that pointed up. That were all triggered by a photocell. So when it flew under a bomber, the guns automatically went off, and then to avoid recoil, the barrels were like designed to break away when the gun fired.
There was also the German plan of building specific Messerschmitts to have heavy armor in their like wings and stuff.
Oh yes.
And sending them to crash into Allied bombers.
Did those actually get made? I thought those were just like.
No, they got made and used. It was in the thing was okay. Unlike they were just like okay, and after you do that, you punch out because even though we put armor in this thing, like the plane is gonna come apart.
Yeah, it has to be, like, light enough to fly, and there's not enough armor to do that.
Yeah. But yeah, they were used, and, like, to somewhat, effect. And, most of the pilots also managed to get out of them, after they accomplished their mission.
Yeah, it's just also one of those things where, like, when all of the advanced German aircraft finally, like, came into effect, like, shortly afterwards, the Allies bombed all of the German aircraft factories, and, like, the war in Germany was coming to a close pretty rapidly.
And also, like, the thing was, like, they were, like, kind of... I think they all, like, there's this comic, showing, like, a German officer, like, making this, like, like, German R&D making this huge fucking, like, plane with a bunch of missiles and jets and shit, and then immediately blows up, like, while in plane, and, like, they're, like, and, like, one of the guys is talking to, Goering, like, we can't fund this, like, it's gonna be a money sink, and then the other guy goes, by the way, we're gonna serve a cake at the launching party. Immediately.
I mean, I think it was less that and more like Hitler just wanted really crazy weapons because he was like a technophile.
Well, but him or Goering. Goering was in charge of the most unflyable man was in charge of the Air Force.
Yeah, oh right, Hitler was just in charge of making, like, tanks that didn't do anything.
Well, they're good tanks, they just had they didn't have a lot of replaceable parts.
Well,
Which,
no,
yeah,
I mean, the Tiger tank was good, but then there was the Mouse tank and that other tank that was supposed to have a battleship gun that was like so heavy.
Basically, a lot of German airplane and tank design is probably a big inspiration for the Xeon mobile suits and Mobile Suit Gundam.
Also, I can't remember. Was the guy, was the guy who made the Tiger? Was he also? Shit. He also made cars. I can't remember if he made Porsches.
It might have been like a Volkswagen guy. Because
yeah.
I think Volkswagen became a thing around like the Nazi era.
Yeah, because he was a car designer who they asked to make the. Have you seen any of this? Have you seen any of this stuff, like any of the manuals for the Tiger tank?
No, but I assume they're like complicated.
Well, it was interesting because they were all laid out in like very layman's term things, like very easy things to like do, and also for some reason there were sexy ladies on every page.
Yeah, like you do, get the guys to keep it. It's like, in instructional videos, why they're so wacky, because you're trying to keep the trainees, like, attention.
Right.
While trying to get their, that's why you have, like, the rapping, Wendy's training.
Yeah, grill skills. But, the only I've read, like, 6 or 7 pages from, like, a translated Tiger Tank manual, and the only thing I can remember is they have a, like, basically an idiot-proof guide on how to gauge whether or not dirt is too soft, like whether or not ground is too soft to drive the Tiger through. And the thing that they advise is when you're like driving onto a field that's wet, you and one other member of the tank crew get out of the tank and you have the guy stand on your back. Then you carry this one guy piggyback. Then you get on one foot and jump around. And if your foot doesn't sink into the dirt, then it is stable enough to drive the tank on.
Actually, the tank that reminds me how, apparently the Russian tank, their main battle tank, it had really good armor, but its, like, fucking gun was shitty.
Huh.
So, what they ended up doing in some battles, because their guns couldn't pierce the Germans, is just ramming the Germans with their tanks.
Nice. And then I like that also near the end of the war, there were tanks just specifically designed to fight the Tiger tank.
Yeah, you get because, it became the first time where we designed tanks to fight other tanks.
Yeah, and so we just made the Sherman Firefly, which was just this, like, shitty light tank that had the biggest gun, like, had the biggest, most powerful gun ever.
Like, I mean, the Shermans were already kind of shitty light tanks, which you just could mass.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Out of them.
Yeah.
Like, they
yeah,
were...
I mean that was the thing. Like the the Sherman was a shitty tank that was.
Well, it was
also
shitty against other tanks because once again it had light armor.
And then also so we ended up turning it into like a multi-purpose vehicle. Like it had like. It had like a mine-clearing flail and stuff on the front of it?
The ones in the Pacific Theater had flamethrowers on them. And they did well because I don't think the Japanese had any tanks.
Yeah, well, from what I remember, like, Japanese soldiers were still fighting with... were still, like like swords were still their sidearms in the Pacific Theater, if I remember correctly.
Well, I mean, also, yeah, machine guns were pretty rare in the Pacific Theater for, like, except for, like, mounted machine guns.
Right.
Like, they didn't have, like, submachine guns or, well, assault rifles had just been invented by the Germans.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, it was it was the German design that was what the German STG was later modified into the AK, I think.
It was probably like the basis because that was the first like assault rifle, unless you want to count the M1 Garand, which is I guess is the the semi one of the most prolific semi-automatic rifles.
Right.
Ping. I also like how in most video games you cannot just reload the M1 Garand.
Well, yeah, because it had a stripper clip, and
yeah.
for some reason that's the one gun they decided to treat with realism. And that, like, well, you can't just slide another stripper clip in because there's a bunch of bullets still in. There's a bunch of bullets still in the internal magazine.
Also, the ping noise it makes is very soothing.
Yeah,
It's one of those video game feel-good sounds that video games like to have.
Yeah,
like
it was.
You get a super effective on a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's a real life weapon that had an indicator to let you know that your magazine was empty. And then I don't know where I think there was also, I don't know if this was an assault rifle or what the hell it was. There was also that the Colt adaptation of the Browning, which was.
You mean the bar?
Well, yeah, there was a Colt variation of that had some kind of like assault rifle stuff in it, like a pistol grip, but it also weighed like 20 pounds.
Yeah, I think you're thinking because the bar is also like sometimes they just have it as like a pseudo assault rifle for the allies in games.
Yeah, and the bar is a weapon that doesn't make sense to me because it's set up like a light machine gun, but it never had like a belt system. Like it only ever had a magazine that held 20 rounds.
I think there might have been custom belt systems for it, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it was kind of a clusterfuck of a design.
Like I don't understand what its purpose was because
we wanted something that could be like a machine gun, but also a rifle.
Yeah.
Like, it was basically an attempt at it shot in the dark at an assault rifle.
Yeah, we figured out how to make a rifle automatic. And unfortunately, like, it was not, the technology wasn't there yet, so we made just a really heavy and kind of ineffective machine gun. I guess less heavy than the actual machine guns.
I guess also its point is it had more range than, like, the Thompson.
Yeah, because it was firing actual rifle bullets. It's just weird because, like, anytime you see people shooting it, like, I've never, at least in movies and stuff, you never see anybody shooting it standing up. Like, that, it's got a bipod on the bottom because you drop prone and you just, like...
Yeah, I remember, like, that's what they do in, Kelly's here? It's the one with the beatnik with the tank.
Yeah, that's Kelly's Heroes, the Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah.
Don't give out the negative waves.
The one that's a heist movie, that's also a war movie.
Yeah, that movie's great.
Well, they end up beating the final tank by just saying, "Hey, you want half this gold?"
Yeah. Well, they don't even, because the thing is, they get to the bank and they realize they can't open it.
And then, they manage to escape with the gold by, like, saying that the general that was approaching was Charles de Gaulle, and the French people of the town swarm him.
Yeah, and then I remember also, I think, Oddball ends up buying the Tiger tank with some of his gold.
Also, like, they have paint rounds, and, like, at one point they accidentally load paint rounds in the tank and just paint a fucking,
yeah, they paint the back of a tiger, yeah. Yeah, man, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I can't even remember why he had I can't even remember what the paint rounds were for.
I don't know, but he also mentions, like, it was foreshadowed when, like, oh, we got all these paint rounds, make them pretty colors.
Because I remember the other thing that he had, the other thing that he bragged about was how he, like, put a bunch of piping on the end of his barrel to make his gun look bigger. Who do I have that has lightning moves? Is it you? I don't think it's you. No. Or no, was it... I think I replaced one of your moves. Oops, shit. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, it's you. Yeah, no, that's, I remember also the soundtrack to that movie was, like, really weird.
Well, it was, like, a 60s
yeah, it was from, like, the early 70s, so... It was just
a really... weird because they called that character a beatnik and not a hippie when he was clearly a hippie.
Yeah,
then again, I guess hippies didn't really exist back then, so the closest equivalent was beatnik. You know, in World War II.
Yeah.
We hadn't invented the concept of free love yet. Or LSD.
I don't actually know what the origin of beatnik is. I know
I think it was a post-war thing of, like, soldiers doing, like, the same thing with, like, as the big motorcycle movement. Like, the soldiers came home from war and were, like, bored and wanted something to, like, didn't know exactly what to do, and the more artistically inclined became kind of beatniks.
Oh yeah, I just mean, like, the origin of, like, the name, because the,
probably poetry, beats.
Yeah, that's what I can, because I remember reading that apparently, oh cool, I got the card key. I remember reading that the word hippie is, and this might be apocryphal, is apparently derived from, like,
hipster?
No, because hipsters derived from hippie, I think. They
both
have the same.
Hipsters derived from hip.
They're both derived. But the thing is, I think all of those things were derived from the. Apparently, it was something like a term used to describe people in opium dens, because opium smokers would lie down on their sides and prop themselves up with one arm, so all their weight was on their hips.
That sounds like it might be a thing.
And it's like, okay, I can see that, but that sounds right enough. Like, it sounds close enough, maybe.
I don't think hippies did opium of all drugs.
Yeah, but I think the thing is that hippie is derived from an older word that also had the word, like, I think it's derived from hip, and some other part of hip is the is from this, like, literal meaning. Like, that's one of the things, I did a paper in college about the origin of the word cool as the slang. And that's derived from an African concept about being calm and collected that refers to people who are really, like, into things, like, literally being cold or literally being cool. Like, being, I think the phrase is, like, be, like, cool like a fish underwater. And it was derived from a concept called itutu, which if a person lost their itutu, they were supposed to eat cool foods. And itutu art was painted in cool colors. And a lot of other, like, really weird stuff. I know. Also, it's because of cool and a tutu that the blues genre exists, and a bunch of other, like, weird shit. I wrote a 10-page paper about this.
So basically, what you're saying is, black people have always been cooler than white people.
Yeah, black people, the Africans invented the concept of cool.
All right. I accept this.
And then I remember also in doing reading on that, it's like, oh, everything that white people eventually deemed cool, it was only cool when white people took it from black people.
Fucking white people appropriating the concept of cool.
Oh, my hair cutter.
The,
Well, it's always it's for like a bunch of decades. It was always something from black people that became cool, like the blues or rock and roll, or jazz or like all of these
rap.
things. Yeah. And then it's when white people adopted and start calling it cool that something that the black people made something else that was now cool. I don't need this move.
Fucking 10 years behind, white people.
Yeah. Oh man, Usaring.
Now the thing is,
Usaring.
though, and I don't, mean to cat there, but I find that a lot of black people find anime cool, but white people don't. Like Kanye really fucking loves Akira.
Yeah, and Soulja Boy talks about Goku in a lot of his songs, and how he looks like him.
Well, sometimes also like Gohan
Yeah.
and Vegeta. Also, did you see that image that's been going around of the new Dragon Ball series where it's revealed Goku has never kissed someone on the lips ever?
I didn't realize that was from the new series. I thought that was a screen cap from Z.
It's all like that. It is all like Vegeta, kind of might be a worse fighter than Goku, but he's a better husband and father.
He's a better actual person that exists in the world.
Like, most of his hiccups with like that are probably due to the fact his culture shoots their babies into space and has. From what I saw, like, of the prequel, like, the, Goku Dad movie, doesn't have really that much of, like, a marital structure.
Yeah, what up, Alto Healer 3908?
Actually, Vegeta's probably the best among his race to know about parenting, because he actually spoke to his father and was not immediately shot into space when he was a kid, because, he's the Prince of all Saiyans.
He's the Prince of all Saiyans. Yo, Alto Healer, how do you think about Dragon Ball?
He is Vegeta the Second, and you will... Also, I guess it's a... Like, it... he probably didn't give a shit back then, but it's also kind of neat that he let his wife name his kids instead of just naming them Vegeta the Third and Girl Vegeta.
Yeah, I could see him doing that. It's...
All Saiyans are named after some type of vegetable.
Huh.
Except in the Prince is named... Yeah, because Kakarot, carrot, radish, Nappa is a type of, like, onion, I think. I don't know what Bardock translates, but I think that also is on theme.
Oh man, I haven't watched Oh yeah, but yeah, there was, and then there was also Brawly, which I don't know.
Brock.
Yeah.
There you go.
Also, yeah, from Alto Healer. Is it just me or are power levels bullshit?
They stopped using them after Frieza for good reason. Though after the Frieza did have the good send-off for power levels, in that they tried to get the power levels of like Goku, Super Saiyan Goku, and like.
Didn't the scouter just explode?
Yeah, the HQ exploded because they were trying to read those power levels.
Yeah, I remember that was that's like an Easter egg in the Dragon Ball Z Super Nintendo game. Is if you have the scouter on when you fight Frieza, it just explodes and you just lose it. Pupitar. That's.
I mean, that also, like, they did mention it once when they came to Trunks, like, oh, this guy's got a power level of 4, it'll be easy. And then goes, like, powers up, and then the scouter explodes.
Yeah.
Which, because you said that in LP, now I can't get over the fact how much like Trunks fucking Monica is. Or at least in that one scene.
Oh, right.
Shows up with a sword and just fucking kills the big bad up until this point, and it's from the future.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite thing about, like, Trunks' introduction, is, like, how excessive it is.
I also on the topic of supers, they actually made retcon Frieza to actually be more powerful.
Huh.
The thing about Frieza is he never trained. He was always that powerful and just never trained.
Right,
And
yeah,
so-
because what's the point? Like, when you're that strong, like, you don't need... You can
And
beat
so
everybody.
after he, like, got fucking killed by Trunks, he's like, okay, I'm gonna just try and work out. And
Right,
then,
you mean-
once he does that, he's like the most powerful being in the galaxy again.
Wait, does he actually come back? Like...
Yeah, that's the plot of Revival of F movie, and I think they are, doing that in the new anime too, because the new anime is like it's based on those movies, the Breas movie and the Revival of F. Which, by the way, Breas came awakened because he heard someone beat Frieza. Akira Toriyama is dead set on making sure you remember that Frieza was the most badass thing in the galaxy when he was alive.
Yeah, like, he conquered entire civilizations and, like,
And
destroyed...
it took someone inventing a thing with his DNA, and also someone awakening an ancient evil from before Frieza was born to outdo him.
Yeah, it took a prophecy.
Yeah.
Kakarot, you fucking cheated because you're already Super Saiyan 3.
And I know the plot of the movie is they have to invent a new... They have to wish for a new, like, a thing beyond Super Saiyan to fight Breas. And so, using the power of 5 pure-hearted Saiyans, including Gohan's unborn child, they managed to invent Super Saiyan God.
So what does
And then-
that one look like?
It's red.
Oh, I thought that was what 4 was.
No, 4 is the weird one from GT, where he's all furry. Super Saiyan God is more just, it's like Super Saiyan but red.
Oh, okay. So
And
instead of...
then,
Okay. Gotcha.
As they find a level further beyond that, known as Super Saiyan God Super.
Sure.
And the joke is that it's kind of hard to say.
Right.
Because at some point, because Akira Toriyama remembers the Boo arc, and people actually like that.
Yeah, I
Because
like that. That's my favorite thing is, like, Akira Toriyama was, like, trying to get the show canceled, but, like, it was like the producers were in trying to make something terrible. He just kept making things that people liked more.
At that point, it was kind of a throwback to Dragon Ball, where, like, oh yeah, the guy turns people into candy, and fucking is made of, like, gum, and he turns the fusion. I mean, fusion was basically invented as a joke. Like, fusion was like fucking Akira Toriyama, like, lampooning his own shit and how stupid it was.
Right. Yeah,
And
what
then,
up,
you know-
Iron Man?
And then, yeah, the fused version of Goku and Vegeta, like, gets turned into a jawbreaker, and then gets turned into candy, and then beats up Majin Buu, because he is a jawbreaker, the strongest of all candies. And,
Right, yeah.
and Buu had to turn it back, so he wouldn't be beat, so he wouldn't have to live with the fact that he got beaten up by a piece of candy. Like, that shit was awesome!
Yeah, no, that's,
It's like how in JoJo's, like the most recent episode, is like a guy who may or may not be an alien, who can transform into various objects. And so the gang proceeds to use him to cheat at gambling by having him turn into dice. Because JoJo's Part 4 is street level as fuck. Comparatively.
right, yeah, when compared to the rest of JoJo's.
And it's the one where, like, powers get weirder. It has a stand whose power is it goes inside you and removes all the bad stuff. And it comes from an Italian chef who wasn't hit with, like, the bow and arrow or anything. He was just so passionate about Italian cooking that
Right, this is the spaghetti one.
Yeah, spaghetti. Do you know what the assembled form of spaghetti looks like? In the episode, let's go eat Italian food.
Right. Also, yeah, Iron Man, welcome to Pokemon Randomizer. Also, we talk about whatever.
Yeah, because it's Pokemon.
Yeah, because it's Pokemon, and also, like, we've gotten to the point where the random stuff is the random stuff still gets us.
We haven't gotten to new wild areas yet, so
Yeah, we haven't gotten to new wild areas, and also we've seen most of the Pokemon trainer titles now.
yeah. I think if we ever do Black and White, it'll be more because there's just more Pokemon there, and so it's always a surprise. Also, we can also talk about the plot of Pokemon Black and White, which is way better. Like, one of the best Pokemon plots ever to exist in a Pokemon game.
Yeah, because Team Plasma's just like PETA.
And more also, like, N is just a really complicated and really well-written character.
Yeah, there was actually, like, a nemesis.
A nemesis that, also, like, was a plot, like, that, kind of questions the premise of the Pokemon game. Like, is it right that we're just fighting these, using these, putting these things in balls and fighting with them? I mean, turns out, yeah, because the Pokemon are okay with it, but, it's like, if, as people who wouldn't, coming out of this without knowing anything, you're just like, they naturally come to the conclusion of, wait, what the fuck is going on here?
Right, yeah.
But really, Pokemon is more like you're a manager of an MMA group, who just also happen to be animal things.
Also, Healer, the only reason we're not doing Pokemon X and Y is because it doesn't emulate well.
I don't think there's been a good 3DS emulator yet. The technology, usually emulation is good when it's a console behind. Except for the Dolphin, which I think was in a decent, like, Wii emulator while the Wii was still a thing. Because the Wii had the same, like, part...
The Wii was a kind of upgraded GameCube.
Yeah.
Nintendo followed their normal pattern of, like, using cheap off-the-shelf hardware to make an affordable console that was not as powerful as their competitors' stuff.
And it also works out because it makes their stuff more backwards compatible.
Yeah.
So, the PS2 was backwards compatible as, like, a fluke, because they just happened to put a PS1 in the PS2. And then when the PSP was like, what about backwards compatibility? Fucking how to... the Xbox One, Xbox 360 too. Like, oh, it turns out backwards compatibility is hard.
Yeah.
If you're not, like, just building it up.
Yeah, it was a thing that people just kind of took for granted, despite how it didn't exist for a long time.
It's also the Wii's, and I think PS3 emulation is hard because the fucking the fucking cell processor was its own brand of weird bullshit.
Yeah, like it was part of Sony's master plan that like when they said it like made sense until they actually tried to use it.
Which is why there haven't been like an HD release of Metal Gear Solid 4. Because that game was built for the Solid processor, and that's why it was also on no other console.
Right.
It will never be because Konami is dying.
Yeah, and they're just gonna take everything with them.
Well, when they die, their IPs have to go somewhere.
If Raichu had a Mega Evolution, what would it look like?
I think they're moving away from Mega Evolutions, kind of. They still have them there, but I think Z-moves are the thing that they give to everyone else instead of Mega Evolutions.
Right,
and
yeah, they get their...
Mega Evolutions are the Z-moves for the ones that already have, like, Mega Evolutions. I think, I mean... it would kind of probably be Aloha Raichu. I mean, that's basically what Aloha Raichu is. Like, they probably had the concept of Mega Raichu, and then just turned that into Aloha variant.
Yeah, that's what's more radical than a Raichu that is also an awesome surfer.
Best Z move though is the Eevee one.
Yeah.
And the Snorlax one.
Yeah, I can't.
Have very good Z moves.
Yeah, I can't see the EVZ move without the fucking Power Rangers theme.
Also, whoever animated that really like what's the aqua one, the water
Vaporeon.
one? What?
Vaporeon.
Yeah, Vaporeon. Because that one gets front center treatment.
Yeah, they played enough Pokemon Go. They just kind of fell in love.
Also, if you get the demo, you can get Ash. Greninja.
Right, yeah, the one that, why?
One that Ash's spirit Pokemon, but he still could not beat a Pokemon League with
Yeah,
it.
even when he mind melded with his Pokemon.
Like, he has a stand. He found his Pokemon stand, but
Yeah.
it's still good enough.
His Pokesona, which actually is Pokemon Persona, not Pokesonas are a thing.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a whole other side of things. Also, yes, I think Gary Oak is such a dick because he was an antagonist character made in the mid to late 90s.
Also, my Pokesona is a Dunsparce, but it has no, like, anthropomorphied features. It's just a Dunsparce.
Yeah, that's fine. You can be a feral Dunsparce.
my Dunsparce kin.
Well, kin's different. Like that's your soul resonates with a Dunsparce in another dimension. You exist in both dimensions as these things.
Listen, I use my tail to I just flop around and am bad at things, but I'm also very rare. So it's and I have a high catch rate, so.
So I got that going for me at least.
This reminds me of fucking the Uranium fan game gave Dunsparce an evolution, thus ruining it one of its key points of being bad.
Aw, thanks, Amda.
It's like Quetzalcoatl like Dunsparce thing. Even though we already have a fucking Rayquaza.
Yeah, but we needed something to be the Gyarados to its Magikarp, I guess.
Listen, some Pokemon are just bad, okay? Like, I mean, Ditto has its purpose, fucking.
Yeah, Ditto. Well, also Ditto's purpose is just to be other things.
That's why you have all those comics about like that Charizard being raised by a Ditto.
Yeah.
That mostly.
Also, Amda, the story behind my Persona design, is I saw a picture of a Highland cow and said like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I think. Isn't that how most Personas happen?
You'd be surprised. I've been to spirituality panels at FurCons, and there was one I honestly had to leave because there was because we were going around and like talking about how we came into our personas, and like one guy introduced himself as well, my mom died. I had a dream where I followed a white wolf through the woods, and I knew it was my mother guiding me, and I woke up with a sense of peace, and it's for that reason that my persona's a wolf. And it was gonna come around to me, and it's like, my persona's a cow because I like cows. And so I just left because it's like, oh, this is not my panel.
Oh, I don't forget if I've asked you that, but do you think Aslan's like Jesus' persona? Because that's.
I mean so I'm gonna say yes, and this is just because aside from Raptor Jesus, which is a parody, every time I see Jesus done in anthro form, he is always a lion.
I mean, that's a cult.
And that might be it's the lion and the lamb thing.
Make him a lamb though, also.
Yeah, it's the lion and the lamb thing. So it's
Yeah.
It's a It might also it might be one thing that is it might be one thing influences another thing as well. Like there's a whole huge chain of events.
It's not in fact a furry, but one of the apostles one. So he made a persona just so it seemed like a cool idea.
He was compassionate.
Which one of the apostles do you think was the furry? I don't think Peter, because he had a gem sona.
No, it was clearly Matthew, because he had all that taxman money to commission artists.
Speaking of Matthews, how do you like having a hurricane named after you?
I'm honored to have one of the more devastating hurricanes named after me.
I don't think there was a big Hurricane Charlie yet, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I know one of my friends
Rip
in
in peace, anyone named Katrina.
one of my friends in elementary school bragged about how, or a couple of my friends in elementary school bragged about how they were named after hurricanes that were so devastating that their names were retired.
I'm gonna look this up.
Huh?
This is kind of like the hedgehog thing, only with hurricanes.
Find your patron hurricane.
Okay, there's Charlie How I Spelled It, which was in 1951. It was the deadliest tropical cyclone of the year. Oh,
Okay,
it was
so
the third named storm.
tropical. What is it? A cyclone's just isn't that just a Pacific hurricane?
No, tropical cyclone's a generic term. Hurricane is, I think, Atlantic. Typhoon is Pacific.
Gotcha. Right, typhoon is the name.
Yeah.
Fucking. Everybody's got a fucking Suicune. Why not? It's a free country.
Yeah. Probably, yeah, I guess mine got soon because of NATO phonetic alphabet.
Right, yeah.
And then there's, like, Charlie with a Y, but that doesn't count.
Who the hell spells it like that?
Degenerates.
Oh, wait, no, I'm not gonna change.
Actually, let's see if my birth name is... My true name
Hurricane
is...
Charles.
Yeah.
See if Charles was ever in fact in charge. Okay, this has a thing that prevents one-hit KOs.
No Hurricane Charles yet.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know how they determine the names for, like, what names they're gonna use for a season.
I think it's like a algorithm, and they have like a list of every name. And I know they alternate genders, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, as much as names have genders anymore.
Right, yeah.
Though I guess any foreign language might have. Like, English is one of the more gender-neutral languages. We don't have gender...
Yeah, and I know it's in alphabetical order, but I don't know, like, how they pick the names
I
in
think
the
it's
alphabet.
a list and probably an algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Like, they got a computer to do it now, probably.
I know that if they go past 26, then they start calling them, like, Hurricane Alpha, Hurricane Beta, Hurricane Zeta.
So, Hurricane Charlie might come again.
Yeah, if it hasn't been retired.
Or is that just Greek lettering? Yeah, Greek, because Alpha,
Because, yeah, NATO's Alpha, Bravo, Charlie.
Yeah, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and then ends with
Zulu.
yeah, Zulu. Because Zulu hour.
Yeah. It's interesting that, like, some of the words in because the NATO alphabet's just designed to be, like, it's designed, you know, to be used for the entire North Atlantic Treaty.
Yeah, so it's,
Or
you
the
know,
North-
yeah.
And so, like, and so it's interesting that, like, even though most of them are, like, English words, some of them are said weird just to be distinct. Like, uniform and, what is it?
Well, it accentuates the
Fower.
U in uniform.
And then you don't say four, you say fower. You make it 2 syllables.
Yeah, you've got to accentuate the first letter. So you know what, you know... You put emphasis on that first letter because that's what's the important part.
Well, then, yeah, then you have the rest of it because over 35... what is it? Over 3.5 megahertz, you lose a lot of... that's one of the reasons...
yeah, also, yeah, radios can gargle a lot.
Yeah, and that was, I know that's the thing that actually led to, a lot of, like, a lot of problems in cheap children's toys, was that, once you get below, like, 4,000 hertz, I want to say, S and F sound the same. And so there's a lot of toys that have, like, cheap speakers in them that say things like, so cute. But when you reduce it to that level, to like that sampling range, they sound like they're saying "fuck you."
And that's also like can be, you know, the audio things and them degenerating over time. Have you ever seen a fucking dying Billy Bass thing?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen one where it talks normally so long as it's on the wall, and then when it curves out, it slows down.
Like fucking Alvin and the Chipmunks ass, you know, sounds, slowed down sounds.
God, that's my favorite fucking Patton Oswalt bit. Is talking about playing the Alvin Christmas album on he had like an LP of the song, and so they turned it down. It's like just like a bunch of like. It's just a bunch of boring guys sing a Christmas song, and then this, like, demon from the pit of, like, rapists and traitors starts screaming at them.
and then thus it became a fucking, a tradition. I think he started that as a Christmas tradition.
Yeah, it's his fondest Christmas memory.
I just remember the bit about the fucking ice cream cakes, because in the group I followed, they actually found a commercial for those ice cream cakes.
I don't remember the ice cream cakes. I've seen the weird the weird like cheap cookies.
Yeah, you know that like. I can link you a video of the actual commercial, and it contains part of like the fucking the bit where it's like. And this is why lies in great tragedy, because he had a voice like John Watts gargling asphalt. You'd hear it and your spine would immediately turn to glass.
Okay, I'm not familiar with this bit. I know the the breakfast cookies. Snack time, anytime. I don't know this one though. I haven't heard this one. Also, I didn't read what Pokemon's coming out, so I'm hoping the Porygon can fight it. It is...
the duck, always trust in duck, yeah. Oh, it's that guy.
Yeah, that's all. I'm gonna steal your shit. Wow, okay.
Also, reports in, Final Fantasy V. Looks pretty good. Though it does have some heavy shit in there, apparently.
Wait, Final Fantasy V?
No, not fucking Persona 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Persona 5 certified stylish. But be warned, there are some, like, things in there that are kind of heavy.
Which is unsurprising for a Persona game?
Okay, here's the thing. You go into, I'll just say this, you go into, like, each one of the levels is based off one of the 7 sins.
Oh, okay.
And there's a lust level.
Okay.
And it's exactly what you think it is.
Okay.
Like, intentionally, you know, creepy for, you know, the point it's trying to make, but, you know.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but... I mean, it's not... Yeah.
I'll probably end up, experiencing it through the anime, just because I don't have, like... I don't have any, like, current-gen consoles.
Yeah. I would get a PS4 for that in Final Fantasy V and 100-foot Robot Golf.
Or Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah, 15.
Is 100-foot Robot Golf a platform-exclusive game?
For right now, yeah, because they did a deal. They also have like VR support for it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, like, and also Pierce of the Third Street Saints is in that game, because Pierce is the only member of the Third Street Saints
who would
that
build
can
a robot.
tolerate any form of golf.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Also, yeah, would tolerate any form of golf. Also, would be. Well, they probably all drive a giant robot, but Pierce is the only one who would like.
The other ones would use their giant robots for smashing things, and fucking, and the boss would probably have one that was basically literally Optimus Prime. Because I think in 4 they have a sequence done to you got the touch.
Nice.
Which I think is also a thing in the, it's the game based off the game with the sword guy and the Oni, Like it's a remake of an old game that was kind of. I have that game, I think. Chat, is it? Not sleep. Oh, Shadow Warrior, yeah.
Oh right, yeah, yeah, that's the John Carmack game.
I don't know. It's a remake of, I think, the original, which was a Sharon Carmack game.
I thought John
It's
Carmack
one of-
was responsible for the remake too.
I don't know. It might be one of like the more recent like Dooms or Wolfenstein, where it's just people would like the game remade it into like a better game.
Right, yeah. Well, I remember. I think John Carmack might have been on the been on the marketing team at least, because I remember I followed his Twitter and he talked about he was talking about people that were trying to that were posing as game journalists to try and get free codes for the game, and so he responded to all of them by giving them a Steam code for the original Shadow Warrior, which was free. Nope, this ain't gonna work. Worked better than I expected. Oh, okay.
Oh, by the way, the new Doom has like it's a soundtrack got released as like a thing on iTunes, I think.
Oh, nice.
Because the new Doom has a good soundtrack, a good, very Doom soundtrack. I played the demo, and I was thrilled when they worked in lines from the comic into that.
But there was a
Well,
Doom.
the line everyone remembers.
There was a Doom comic.
Yeah, rip and tear your guts.
Oh, I always wondered what that was from. I never knew.
Yeah, it was a comic.
Huh.
I don't think it was ever officially released. It was just released like as a promo at cons, but it got on the internet, so it's eternal.
Right. Huh.
Where Doom Guy briefly has an aside, like a soliloquy about the disposal of nuclear waste. I guess his name now is Doom Marine.
Oh, I thought they. Okay, is he actually called Doom Marine in that one? I thought he was.
Doom
I
Marine,
thought he was still Doom Guy in the new one.
Well, he is a Doom Guy, but he's officially Doom Marine.
Oh, yeah, I remember hearing things like they've constructed idols to the.
Yeah, because he punched hell to death, so they worship him as a god of violence.
Well, I think it's also like it's not even specifically that guy in the current one, isn't it? Like it's a guy that's taken the armor and is like.
No, I think it's implied to be that guy because he's in like in the demo you see he's like in this slab or something, and it's like you're trying to awaken again, rip and tear, and like the reason his armor is there is because like they found him in like this hell slab.
Gotcha. Also, this is the state of, like, it's been, like, how many months since that game came out, and neither of us have really, like, played it.
I mean, it's apparently good, I just don't have the money for it.
Yeah, I just... Oh, this move can only be learned once. Oh, who should I teach Comet Punch? Nobody right now.
Let's see,
I think it's a normal type move that just hits a bunch of times.
Yeah. I heard like the multiplayer is kind of meh.
Well, yeah, and that was kind of the thing. Like everybody was really lukewarm on Doom when like the pre-release stuff came out, because the multiplayer came out before the game, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, this is just like any other modern shooter."
Yeah, but then the game came out, and then also like
the game came out, and it was like fucking amazing. Apparently,
and then also they had a built-in level editor where you can make your own levels, which is always fun.
Yeah.
Like, then they've been apparently improving it, so you can add more things into your levels.
Cool.
And I think they also it made a mood which is more like classic Doom multiplayer stuff, where just everyone fucking has rockets and is flying around and.
Yeah, it's your more classic kind of first-person shooter, bunny hop, rocket jumping experience.
Yeah. And then they're also making a new Quake,
Yeah, why not?
which I think is gonna be like this is the Team Fortress equivalent thing.
Oh,
No
okay.
prob- because it's like you have. I think it was in Doom 3 you had a bunch of different characters and they're bringing Quake 3 you had a bunch of different characters and they're bringing that back.
Okay, yeah. So it's so that's gonna be their.
They're doing the Overwatch kind of model class of shoot.
Yeah, class-based shooters.
Yeah. Rip in pieces, fucking Battleborn.
Yeah, like what was wrong with Battleborn?
I don't think it was it was okay, but it just got released when a very much better thing in the same vein of it got released. And also, like, the designs weren't as good as the ones in Overwatch, like character designs.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the character, like, they, have these kind of and they're fine. Some of them are described as kind of ugly, but all, like, the character models, like, in Overwatch look cool, and they all have, like, personality, like, they have personality.
Yeah, they were all like the Team Fortress 2 guys, but like better.
They're Team Fortress 2 guys, but, with more, like, instead of an archetype, they're their own character.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I guess Team Fortress, the promoter material, Team Fortress 2 guys have gotten their own, like, personality and quirks and stuff.
Yeah. Even though they're all just like Scout, Spy, Demo Man.
Yeah. Listen, the soldier's just very happy that he could teleport bread. I teleported bread since you said I could a day ago.
Shit, which one was this from? I remember that line.
One with the scout trying to get a date with the lady, and the spy was trying to teach him, and telling him he is not like one of his chicken barrel sluts. No, I can get ladies. Hey, nice chicken. I have sex. Okay. I teleported bread.
Uh-oh. Right, I forgot that's the move this thing has. Oh, fortunately it sucks.
Also, I forget, in Lords, it's Cave Johnson, not Cave Johnson, the other guy, the Australian guy.
Shit.
Saxon Hale!
Yeah, Saxon Hale, right.
Yeah, the other
I was one to call him Man because his company's like Manco.
Yeah. Manco. An ape will die on every page. Which I think was posted on Super Dickery once, because it is indistinguishable from all the other covers that are posted on that website of that kind of thing.
Right.
It is parodied so perfect that it is indistinguishable from the thing it was parodying.
Yeah, it's kind of like North Korean news.
Like, fucking... I mean, not only like comic books and like the ape thing, the ape quota, where you need every so often apes need to be in a comic book because market research find people bought comics with apes in them.
Right.
Which
yeah.
is why we have both the Ultra Humanite and Gorilla Grodd. And also like an entire city of gorillas. So, to be specific, Ultra Humanite is a man brain in a gorilla body. A Gorilla Grodd is just a super intelligent ape, and of course, Gorilla Grodd hates the Ultra Humanite because he's not a real ape. He's appropriating ape bodies.
He's appropriating ape culture, man.
He's a. I'm trying to think of a turf, but with apes. It's not coming together, never mind.
Oops, I shouldn't have used cut.
What?
Oh, I meant to use a different attack. Also, isn't there a law that's like, extremism and the parody of extremism are indistinguishable?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with a trope or any kind of rule with that name, but yeah, probably that makes sense. What do you?
I mean, that's how you end up with Donald Trump.
Yeah. Well, he managed to be self-parody and then be successful.
Donald Trump was funny when he was like on The Apprentice, and no one took like what he was doing seriously. And then he started running for like, it's around when he started seriously considering, you know, if people started taking him serious as a presidential candidate, that it just stopped becoming funny and started becoming terrifying.
Yeah.
And then we looked into his past, and oh, he's had a history of racial discrimination in his apartments. Oh, he's had all, like, you know, he was terrible to, like, a bunch of women.
Oh, he lost a lot of his own company's money.
But that means he doesn't pay taxes forever now.
Yeah. Also, he claimed to... so I remember somebody apparently went through all the charities that Donald Trump allegedly gave to, and they said they called, like, all 386 charities or something like that. And there was no record of him giving to any of them. Well, they still hadn't called all of them, but they were down to, like... They were at, like, at number 380, I think, at the time of writing. Also, yeah, I'm pretty sure that rule exists. Like, it's a thing that happens enough that it probably is explained. I've never heard of it, but that it makes
law.
Huh?
I think.
Pose law?
Pose law.
I don't know.
I think that's at a certain point, parody is indistinguishable from, sincerity. I guess one of the examples would be, a modest proposal. Did not help that people actually thought, Jonathan Swift was kind of out there at the time, even.
Wait, which is this?
That is the modest proposal of, a book about how, since poor Irish children are so, misfortunate, instead of just, letting them live in their misfortune, we should just let the rich eat them. As babies. It adds reference, in C-Lab 2021, a book about eating babies.
God damn it. Oh, what the... Okay. Oh yeah, AMDA. This is probably the best thing that comes out of Randomizer.
What?
We just encountered our rival.
Oh, yeah. Is he still? Yeah.
Fucking God Chaz wants to fight. Oh, pose law is apparently the quickest way to get the right information on the internet is to tell people the wrong thing, and they'll correct you.
Okay. I know there's also a law about any topic or conversation eventually leading around to Nazis.
Yeah, that's, shit. I knew it until you... Godwin's Law.
Yeah, Godwin's Law. Which we already did because we talked about German tanks a bunch. And her being a fat piece of shit.
I think Godwin's Law is any argument is invalidated by the mention when somebody mentions Nazis, and also that Nazis coming up in an argument is inevitable, or comparing somebody or something to Nazis is inevitable.
It is really faster with some things than others in today's society.
Yeah, well, especially since we're also since there's a lot of modern conversation where we're also literally talking about actual neo-Nazis.
Yeah, that too. Fucking Indiana Nazis. Also, what's with all the clowns? I thought, is this still is it mostly
I don't know.
juggalos?
I don't know what's up with the clowns.
Did someone see Batman Beyond and think, oh, we should stop that at the Joker's gang?
Yeah,
We don't even have to worry about the real Joker coming up and killing us. So... Fucking one of the sweetest things, though, about Batman Beyond was that, like, Joker just, like, had a gang of people who, like, after he, like, died, just, like, you know, let's do that shit. That guy was cool. I just dress up like clowns and cause mayhem. Fuck it.
yeah, why not?
And then when he came back, he recruited some of them into his own gang.
Yeah, that was
Return of the Joker quality movie.
Yeah, it's also like that's one of the ones where I've actually seen like the alternate cuts of that, and I think both cuts of that movie work. Like both different ways that he dies. In fact, I think the way that they removed is a better way.
Yeah,
Even
because, you know, because it's the fucking dart gun he uses all the fucking time.
Well, and also just his last line is, "That's not very funny. That's not very funny at all."
Nice Mark Hamill impression.
Yeah, that's me. That's me doing like three impressions removed. For some reason, Mark Hamill's Joker is slightly British for me.
Fucking yeah, Mark Hamill's Joker, also known as Ringo Starr. Fucking
No, Ringo Starr talks like this. Talks about the Shannon Station.
Fucking love when Mark Hamill did the fucking dub of fucking Thomas the Tank Engine.
Man, I can't remember who all has actually done has done voices for Thomas the Tank Engine.
It was mainly well, the main big two were like the narrators were in Europe Ringo and in America George Carlin.
I didn't know George Carlin did it.
He was at least in fucking Thomas the Tank.
Because I only know I've only ever God damn it I've only ever seen I've only ever seen the Ringo Starr ones. Like that was who was narrating it back when I was.
I remember watching like on PBS Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah,
and
like,
would get bored when it was any non-Thomas the Tank Engine segment, like when it's just people fucking around in a train station. And then there was like the boat equivalent of Thomas the Tank Engine. Remember that?
Oh yeah, the tugboat guy.
Yeah.
I kind of remember that. I also
And then there was the horrible plane equivalent.
Yeah, JJ the Jet Plane.
Yeah, well, it was bad. You know, instead of like that charming stop motion they did with the boat, like in the not even stop motion, like you know, just using like toys and miniatures. They did like really shitty looking CGI.
Also, man, Chaz is fucking rocking my dome here.
That's what Chaz does. I think there was a CGI, though, a bad CGI Thomas the Tank Engine stuff, too. Because of course there was. TV CGI is usually not that great. Unless it's... Like, the big exception was, like, Reboot and Transformers Beast Wars, and that's mostly because the setting they were in.
Yeah, well, they took advantage of...
They look too real.
Yeah, they took advantage of stylization.
Yeah, like, in Transformers, it's mostly robots. So, you know, they look like robots. And in a Reboot, it's all in a computer. So it doesn't have to look that, you know.
I mean, even with that, the early seasons of Reboot, like, look really bad.
They look about like how PC games would look in the day, so...
Yeah, those also didn't look great.
No, I guess if they were like beat PC games in the day, they would be all FMV.
Well, to be fair, Reboot was also FMV. Although I guess you mean live action.
Yeah, when I say FMV, I mean live action. Like, FMV in video games is code for live action people doing things.
Oh shit,
and now
right,
that's making a comeback with like fucking I forget the game. No, the one with the hand signal. Do you know what does this mean anything to you, game? Contradiction, I think?
Yeah, fuck yeah. I follow the guy who played the detective in that on Twitter now.
Yeah, and then there's that new game with, like, the bunker. That looks interesting.
I don't know that one.
It's a game, they did a giant bomb quick look of it, because I think Alex Navarro and, the other guy, Vinny like FMV games. And like, yeah, it's like a game where you play this person who was born in a bunker while a nuclear attack happened, and grew up their entire life in the bunker, and now everyone else is dead but you.
Huh.
And like the last person to die is your mother who raised you, and you have to follow this routine of like, you know, of like what to do, like, you know, every day is like take medication, eat food, like, you know, read a book. And like it starts with the mother dying, but he's still in his routine, because his mother told him to follow the routine. He still reads to her like she's still alive, because he has to follow the routine.
Right.
And anytime he has to do anything outside of the routine, like it's like very like nervous for him. And he follows instructions even if they don't have any purpose. Like the thing they demo is like he noticed there's just a problem like with the power, so you have to reset the power. And one of the things they say to reset the power is you have to make an announcement, even though for all his knowledge he's the only one here.
Mm-hmm.
So he still has to do that. And yeah, you're like, it's a bunch of like figuring out what happened to all the other people in this bunker, and maybe he's not alone.
Ooh.
Like it's a psychological horror game.
Right.
About being alone in a place with no outside perspective. Or also the books he has to read are a Bible, a Treasure Island, and a technical manual for the nuclear shelter.
Huh. Also, man,
Yeah, those are the only 3 books they have.
Right.
And you gotta have, like, you know, change it up a little.
Fuck, okay. Shit, okay, I should have replaced some of Typhlosion's moves, because I didn't realize, or not Typhlosion, I should have replaced some of Imagine's moves, because I didn't realize, like, fucking all of them are, like, weird support moves.
Maybe, maybe teach them Comet Punch.
Yeah.
How many Pokemon do you have left?
2. And this Typhlosion, I wouldn't have so much problem if this Typhlosion didn't have, like, Rest, and if Rest didn't restore its entire life pool.
Hey, you got Sunny Day going, like rain going on, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter too much, though, because I don't have anything they can, like, that can really damage this thing too much. There we go. Well, okay, Goal, Bat, alright. I can deal with this. No. Let's just deal with this. Oh god. Want to see an apocalyptic future where the books you have to read are like a child's book, a book about law, and then Mein Kampf?
That sounds like a book, like a sci-fi short story at least.
Yeah, it's some variation on Plato's Cave. I know you can actually still buy Mein Kampf, and all proceeds from copies of it go to Jewish charities.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It's interesting read to look into the, you know, if you want to look into the mind of a fucking one of history's greatest monsters.
Yeah.
Like, see, you know, it's, you know, yeah, I would assume it's an interesting read, even though I've heard it's not well written, because Hitler wasn't really a good author. He became popular because he was a good speaker. And like the book kind of goes into these weird diatribes about syphilis and shit. Like,
yeah, no. As far as I know, the main thing that God, reading all 3 of the 50 Shades books. Why?
what?
Also, that was the thing that came up on Twitter. One of the people I follow was like talking about how they were like not confident at all about their writing. I'm like, look, a fucking Twilight fan fiction went on to become a multi-million-dollar grossing movie. Like, anything's possible.
Twilight science fiction about bad S&M.
Yeah.
Also, did you see that recent essay article about writing a PG romance novel? Where it's just a bunch of users talking about like what goes into writing a PG romance novel.
No, I haven't seen that.
Like, hold on, I gotta find one quote that's really good. Because it kind of sums it up. Oh yeah. She was a woman between 18 or 30. Maybe 35 if that's your target demographic. She did fashion maybe, or interior design. A white job. She was definitely white. She had some money, but not as much money as he did. He had a lot of money. He didn't have to be white, but he couldn't be black. He could be Hispanic if he was from Spain, but not from Mexico. He could be from the Middle East, but he could not be Muslim. He had a boat.
Wait, did it end with he had a boat?
Yes! Like, these are a bunch of series of posts knocking on PG for romance novels. But this one was posted, a bunch of them posted by a good forums, essay forums person, and mod, I think, on the games forum, Facts Are Useless. You can find it on the essay's front page under the Comedy Goldmine.
Nice.
Here are things about the romance. It was good. He was rich, and she worked in a magazine or similar. There was a horse once. My favorite thread though for like posts like ever on SA was the zipline thread.
What was the zipline thread?
Okay, so a bunch of people on SA decided to make a zipline for like a kid's camp.
Mm-hmm.
They had no like license or experience. They had a vague knowledge of physics.
Okay.
But they decided you could just build a zipline for kids. You don't need like a permit or anything for that.
Yeah, of course.
And then there was another thread on like Fiad, which was just relentlessly mocking the zipline thread.
How'd the zipline thread end up turning out anyway?
I think the zipline got probably shut down by the government. Or something. I think it was a no-go.
Oh, I got a Gardevoir.
I don't think any kid died on that fucking zipline. Oh, where'd you get the Gardevoir from?
One of the guys, he was supposed to give me a Lapras.
Oh, what's a very pretty man name?
A very pretty man name.
Because this Gardevoir's a very pretty boy.
Now what is
I want
it?
to say Fabio, but that Fabio's too masculine.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, shit. Who's the guy from NSYNC who's still going?
You mean JT?
No. The guy who's still actually producing records.
You mean JT? Justin Timberlake?
Yeah, Justin Timberlake, right.
I said JT, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, no, I had to think about
it.
Also, AMDA proposes David Tennant, who is...
I could see that. Actually, no, he's got more of a Matt Smith haircut. If we're going to Doctor Who.
Let's just split the difference here.
Okay.
Just doctor.
Yeah.
Also, it even said Lapras was transferred to your box, even though it is a Gardevoir. Whoop. Oh yeah, I did heal my Pokemon before continuing, because of that fucking fight with Chaz. Oh, fucking Antoinette wants to battle. I should see what that Gardevoir knows. Maybe it's better than my fucking Cocoon Dragon. Although if I should go to that lady that knows the fucking Comet Punch. I don't think I have any flying Pokemon, do I? Negative. So she's a Pokemon that is not.
Also, another good game, and thankfully for this RPGs, that thankfully this one's coming out to the PC. Apparently, Tales of Barista looks pretty good.
I haven't ever played any of the Tales games, actually.
I played Symphonia, but only I didn't get to the second world. I stopped right before the second world. You know, right before you get to the tower, and it turns out the angels are the bad guys. And it turns out that the half-elf Nazis have a subsect and they started from a world where people persecute half-elves. Which explains why they're half-elf Nazis, kind of.
Right, yeah.
But they're also just straight-up Nazis. Like, they put people in camps. Like, straight up. They turn you into fucking, like, soul gem things. After they work you to the bone.
Huh.
And they claim, and they spout off about how they're the mastering. They are straight up half-elf Nazis. And they don't fucking joke around with that. I believe they call them human ranches.
Ugh.
Oh yeah. And it turns out all the things that give you magic are actually, you know, human, like, used, processed through humans. And when you remove it from the human, they turn into monsters.
Huh.
Including one of the main character's mothers.
Cool.
But, you know, their soul is kind of still in the thing or something.
Yeah, you just have to put the thing back in the person. Oops, that's not what I want. Wait.
No, that usually the person gets killed when they're a monster. Like the main character's mom. Also, there's a bunch of, like, there are two worlds, and they're separated. And, for one world to have a good source of, like, magic, the other one has to go into a magical drought. And so each, they have, like, a thing where one becomes the chosen, and, like, drains all the magic from world and puts it in the other world.
Huh. Is there, like, any, like, through line or connection between, like, the Tales games?
This one I think is a prequel to Tales of Destiny, of the original Tales of, like, the original Tales of game. But, like, most of them are loosely based. Some of them are related to each other, like, anything like a direct sequel, like Tales of Symphonia 2 or Exilia 2, are, like, yeah, direct sequels. Also, Brasida is a prequel to the most recent Tales game that has already been released. Tales of... I forget what. But a lot of them are, like, Final Fantasy. They're not related.
Right, yeah, but Final Fantasy has, like, some, like...
They have, like, have things like, you know, Apple Gel is the constant healing item.
Mm.
Usually most of the battle systems are, like, real-time based.
Gotcha.
They have, like, you know, moves are called the same, same enemies show up.
Sure.
There's usually a Sky Pirate named the same thing.
Nice.
Like, they have their own equivalent of Sid.
Sky Pirates are rad.
Let's see, they have skits, which are when, like, just off things where, like, characters have, like, dialogue with each other about random bullshit.
Mm-hmm. So just, like, vignette scenes.
Yeah, vignette scenes usually, like, animated with mouth flaps of, like, anime drawings of them talking.
Sure.
Except for the, English translation of, I think, Tales of, Eternia, which instead of that, they had, like, in the US release, instead of the skits, they removed the skits, but added a thing where, like, a character would talk and say, oh, what, this is the thing we need to do, you know, to remind you what you need to do. Like,
sure.
Oh, we need to go to this city.
So just one person was just always Navi.
Yeah, well, it switched because there were multiple characters.
Gotcha.
Also, the thing about Tales of Eternia is, for like a good beginning of the portion of the game, one of the cast members cannot speak to you because they speak in an alien language. And when you get a translator thing, like they speak in kind of brokenish English.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to their home planet, you can understand everyone else pretty finely.
So it's just them.
Yeah. And like they're like whenever they speak, they talk, but all their stuff is turned on. It's like all the characters are turned on their side.
Huh.
But you can kind of make out what they're saying if you turn your head, kind of.
Right. That's curious. That's an interesting way to get across, like, this is like English. This is very functionally close to English.
Also, you know, in the beginning, like, everyone thinks that they are like it's like two flat worlds that are, you know, in front of each other, facing each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, everyone thinks the people on her world, like, the party members, her world are, like, barbarians and evil. So, of course, when, oh, we gotta stop the worlds from colliding. Oh, this is actually a plot from their world.
Right.
We need to build a bridge so we could go to war with them.
I think that was, it reminds me of, did you ever watch, Kino's Journey?
Yeah, I watched some of it because you streamed some of it.
Yeah, I should stream more of that eventually.
You talking about, like, the one with the prophecy about, like,
Yeah, about the city that needed to be destroyed in order to prevent the world from ending.
Yeah.
Or there was just the Book of Prophecy that in the end it's like, oh, it was just some guy's really sad poem that went on for a very long time.
And it came from, like, the middle village, which, like, it was 3 stories, and the middle one was, like, about like, the village, like, the place he came from.
Yeah, and then, yeah, the village that was going to be destroyed was the country that actually, like, created the poem that everybody believed was prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah, and the one, it was, like, he was, like, he wrote it was so sad, like, the country is in a constant state of mourning.
Yeah, they have to maintain the melancholy to remember the poet who died because of a king who asked him to write the saddest poem ever.
Reminds me of, like, the plot of Reed of Die revolves around Beethoven's unwritten 10th Symphony, which is so perfect people kill themselves after hearing it.
Huh. It's been a really long time since I've seen the original, like, Read or Die.
Yeah, and so, you know, the clone of Beethoven, like, the bad guys who are out clones of famous people, they try and get the thing so the clone of Beethoven can play it over, like, an airwave. So, like, all the dump, like, because all, like, like there's so many like dumb and like unskilled people, and so when that happens, there will only be the clones of like the true geniuses and stuff. Basically, kind of objectivism.
Yeah. Also, not so far removed from like the plot of Kingsman.
And yeah. And it turns out one of the main characters is actually a clone of Mata Hari and was like a double agent. But then she turns triple agent after the main dude just clones her again so he could kill her. Because they were a couple. Her and the main bad guy.
Right.
Though it's also implied there's also lesbian undertones with her and the main heroine, the Reedman, who's the one who can do all the paper stuff.
Yeah, Noriko Reedman.
Yeah, it probably would have, you know, like I think with the group I was watching us, like, why are you staying with this asshole to die when you could just have a nice, good book girlfriend?
Yeah, I'd also, I got some of the Reader, like some of the Reader Die manga, which Reader Die because it had Reedman in it, and that was... The manga was, like, super bizarre.
I know the anime that comes after is also kind of bizarre, because it's a sequel to the OVAs, kind of.
Yeah, Reader Dream.
Yeah, or something like that. And
yeah,
it involves Joker becoming a bad guy and kidnapping the daughter of Nancy's clone sister. Because she survived but got amnesia due to being drowned in water.
Yeah, because she was supposed to die, but then she just phased through the earth for a while. And popped out of it somehow.
No, yeah. First, no. Original Nancy, who's like the sympathetic one, the one we know. Like, you basically arranges a deal with, like, the main guy, bad guy. It's like, Reedman's a pretty good person. Maybe they can live in our utopia. But then, like, because, like, Reedman's so against it, like, the main bad guy's like, well, there's no other way around it, I have to kill her. And by the way, I cloned you, so I can just, kill you, and I don't have to feel bad about it, because I've got basically you right here, too. Like, you're still gonna survive, so, it's gonna be basically the same, you only not corrupted by, actually like you were originally when we fell in love, instead of, like, when you, like, well, how you are now, and, like, complain about morals and stuff. And then, yeah, she, comes back and, tricks the main bad guy because she uses her left hand to shoot Reedman through the skirt, and then just, like, when she goes up to that guy, he just rips his, like, Mortal Kombat's his heart.
Right, well, that's what you have to do when you have phasing powers. Although I think Heroes took that one step further by having the guy who ripped out Malcolm McDowell's brain.
And then you have the American guy who just tired of this bullshit job and wants to go home because he is not being paid enough for this shit.
Typical American, am I right?
But yeah, all the guys are based off, like, all the bad guys are based off clones of, like, historical figures, including the priest from, Journey to the West, for some reason.
Right,
like,
well
say,
then, yeah.
The guy who's based on that novel, like, the novel's based on. And the guy can breathe fire and has Sun Wukong's extent, like,
yeah, I remember the guy had the staff, and that was also, like, a weird fight because, like, Reedman was blocking fire with paper.
Yeah, but the paper was getting burned up as she was blocking.
Yeah, that was kind of one of the things that they kind of came up with that.
Also, it foreshadowed Nancy's weakness to water, because she gets knocked into the water and has kind of a bad time.
Man, the more you describe about this, the more I realize I don't remember. Where the fuck is the person that he just Colin Punch?
And then
I've been on every single floor.
Yeah, like, one was like a clone of a guy who was into bugs, so, like, he was, like, had insect powers, like, he had a cage of bees and also made giant mantises, but also he died, like, relatively died in the first episode, but he actually, like, molts and becomes a child. And then when he shows up again, like, when the American guy, like, goes, what's this kid doing here? And then shoots the kid, and then he molts into an adult from the kid. Like a weird bug man thing.
Right. Huh.
I think the big bad was, like, a clone from, like, the guy who introduced Zen Buddhism to Japan, I think.
I think I have to use the...
Also, I like how everyone, like, they are just a special division of the British Library that, you know, goes on mission to collect rare books. As in, this is the first time the world has been threatened by a book before.
Right.
Also, the American president pees himself no less than 3 times.
You know, like you do. Wait, this is the end of the place.
And says the word in the English dub says the word nuclear because it was made in 2001.
Right, yeah. And so they were being that president.
Though it was in the period of 2001 where they have a scene in New York and the Twin Towers are still there. As a German guy wearing a wing apparatus is flying through buildings and shit and blowing up helicopters.
Yeah, what up, Blind?
And you have the samurai with electric katana things, who Reedman killed by dumping nitrogen on him and freezing him after having a sword fight where she uses a rolled up tube of dollar bills.
Right, I remember that. Yeah, she opens up someone's wallet and turns it into a fucking sword.
Yeah, it was the American guy who demands he get recompensated after this.
Yeah. Is it you?
Who's the American guy who's introduced doing pottery? And gets called in and goes, my horoscope today said it was going to be a great day. Good fortune. What about this is good fortune? And then he meets Nancy and goes, I guess it was my lucky day. Because she wears that, you know, a dress that... She basically wears a dress that's weird underwear bondage gear.
Yeah, which is... And it's also an interesting thing, because, like, her son, who has the same phasing powers in Reader Dream, wears, like, crazy ninja clothes.
But yeah, you gotta have special clothes, because all her other clothes, you know, go away.
Yeah, all of her other clothes get knocked off when she phases. It's just that, like, her son's phasing outfit was, like, ninja gear. Where hers was, yeah, like, weird, like, latex bondage gear. Yeah, here we go. Also, how bad are my Pokemons? They're okay.
Well, it's not her son, it's her sister, clone sister's son.
Right, yeah.
There is a difference between her and clone sister her. I think they differentiated two back how one Nancy and one Mata Hari.
Oh man, let's see what fucking Giovanni is.
Yeah, I mean...
Ranger Mike! Okay.
I mean, that's an appropriate Pokemon for Giovanni to have.
Yeah, I just like he's Ranger Mike, and I guess that makes sense because he's not the gym leader, so he doesn't get that name. I guess we'll also see how if the names shuffle with the titles. If I remember correctly, all of Murkrow's moves are garbage, which is why we stopped using it.
Well, they didn't get their evolution until, like, Black and White.
Yeah, but also the randomizer just didn't get good moves. Or no, that was the thing. It had a couple good moves, but all of its moves were super low PP.
Yeah.
Oh hey, B-Rock's actually gonna evolve at the end of this battle, I think. Hita. I don't quite remember what that is.
I don't know. I'm not a Pokemon professor.
Not some kind of Poke Prof. Okay, I think I can beat it. Okay, not that move. Also, yes, we were talking about the Read or Die anime and also the subsequent Read or Dream series.
Heard that's not as good as the OVAs.
I didn't like it as much.
Yeah.
It was, I remember it was... I also didn't know for a long time it was called Read or Dream, because the action, like, the title given in the title sequence is just Rod the TV.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a bad Sonic fan character.
I originally saw they originally aired the Read or Die OVAs on Adult Swim once.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think
They really kind of work best as like just a movie that has 3 parts to it, because there's 3 episodes and they basically run a movie length. So it's a weird that they made them OVAs and not just a movie.
Yeah, I thought it was just a movie. That's how I...
Yeah, I mean it basically is. It's just they have 3 opening title and closing sequences in the middle of it.
Although I think, like, yeah, I think the last time I saw that I was in high school. Which was at least 10 years ago now.
Also, I like how in the in her so in the English dub, Reedman's codename is Agent Paper, but in the Japanese one, it is the Paper.
The Paper.
It's always, yeah, it's always pronounced said as the Paper.
Oh, they actually say it as the paper and not the paper.
I don't know. I just know that's how it was in the subtitles. In the English dub, they just, they make it the less clunky Agent Paper or just Paper.
Yeah, they give her a code name and not like a title. And the only thing I remember about the dubs is that like Reedman has a very like Midwestern voice in the OVA, but then in Rod the TV she's British, which makes sense because that's what she's supposed to be.
Oh, yeah. Well, she works for the British Library, but I mean,
like she's a
Drake Anderson, whose name I just remembered, and he doesn't have a code name because his name is Drake Anderson.
It's already a code name.
If you told me that was your name, I'd think it would be bullshit. But yeah, he's from America, and technically, I guess Nancy's from France.
Yeah, I got a master ball from the president.
And yeah, I think in the original, though, she's supposed to be from Japan, just works for the British Library. Because the British Library is like one of the most influential organizations in the world.
Apparently.
Don't you?
She's half Japanese, half British, according to Blind Umpire.
Yeah, it makes sense, because she has a Japanese first name in English.
Right, yeah.
She has Reedman as a last name, which I don't think is a Japanese surname.
No. No, you don't hear much about the Reedman clan.
Oh, remember during the Reedmans almost challenged Obu Nobunaga?
Also, yeah, so it makes more sense for Reedman to have a British accent than a North American
one of the Joker's secretary has a fake British accent in the OVA.
Like, is it supposed to be fake in canon, or is it just...
No, she's supposed to be Indian British, which she also kind of is another thing. In the OVA, she looks very white. But I think in the subsequent stuff, she's Indian, has darker skin.
Sure.
But still blonde hair because,
I just remember the. I think I still have the mangas for like the Read or Die mangas, which are unrelated to like the OVA
I think yeah, it
at
has
all.
the same characters but a completely different story.
Yeah, well, it didn't even have most of the same characters. Like Reedman's the only real through line, and she's like friends with this writer,
I think the writer shows up in the anime.
and she meets and she like the first manga is like the writer is like kidnapped by the writer's like kidnapped by this guy who's like really obsessed with who's really obsessed with Misery, or the book Misery, and like keeps calling the kid
The Stephen King's Misery?
yeah
Alright. Just making sure.
yeah no like and so he kidnaps her to like replicate that, and then the only part I can remember is that like the climax before Reedman breaks in and like saves her is like he's got her like tied down on a giant bed of her own novels that she wrote, and then his thing is like, I'm going to rape you, and this is going to create an entire new genre of literature. It's
What?
like, yeah. I remember that line for that reason, because that was my reaction to it. Also, I remember like
showed up.
and also I remember he kidnaps her in like the most bizarre way, that like she's at a book signing or something, and like
Is it like when Borat kidnapped Pamela Anderson?
I don't know how did that happen.
He just threw a bag over her.
No. So she's at a book signing, and then if I remember correctly, like part of the bookstore she's in gets torn away and loaded onto a truck that is that has it held on with giant rolls of Scotch tape. Like, you know, like the Scotch tape dispenser, like it's that. And Reedman's actually following the author because she wanted her to sign her book, and that's like the whole reason she finds her at all.
I mean, the whole plot of fucking Read or Die, the OVA starts because she gets the book that turns out to be what the British Library and the clones want, but she just wanted it, you know, for her own personal.
Because like she's in the chopper and she's just reading this like ancient text. She's reading this ancient text to the point where like
all Beethoven's old poems.
yeah,
And
and it's and to the point where like she doesn't pay attention to people until they take the book from her.
yeah, and when they put it for analyzing, she follows the book around like the book mover, you know, the airplane conveyor belt they have there. Like, she just follows it as it goes down.
Also, according to Blind Empire, the writer's name is Nenene Sumirigawa.
Also, her entire... she owns an entire apartment building, but she lives only in the shack above it, and the rest of it is
It's just filled with books, right? I remember that part now that you mention it.
And she sleeps on books and under books in case she gets cold.
She's one of those people that just took to their name as hard as literally as possible.
I mean, when you have the ability to control paper.
I guess, yeah.
Also, she has a roller suitcase which she keeps all the sheets of paper in. And that gets destroyed in the fight versus Son Goku, so she gets a new upgraded suitcase, which isn't a roller-like suitcase thing. And then she immediately loses that when she gets captured.
Yeah, she's one of many from an era of like really kind of ditzy protagonists who are masters of combat. And we still haven't seen a Pellistorm. Just all these Wingles. Although maybe Pellistorm wasn't until a later generation.
No, maybe. Yeah, I think it's an evolved form. Maybe just be rarer.
Yeah, and the only thing I only know fucking Wingle and Pellistorm because of fucking Game Grumps.
I know. I remember them mostly because the Nuzlocke Griffin's doing. And he got a plushed one of those.
Oh man. Oh, fucking Wailord. I remember the thing I remember about Wailord is that it apparently is like its body mass. It's less dense than styrofoam.
Well, yeah, it's mostly oxygen in there.
Yeah, it's just a giant blimp.
And I mean, it is the biggest Pokemon.
It's the biggest Pokemon, and it's weird because it's like 10 times the size of Snorlax, but weighs like maybe half as much as Snorlax.
Also, have you seen the new Pokemon Generations shorts?
I haven't.
What the real reason for all the detail was the Lance breaking up the Voltorb power station under the Lake of Rage, and also the main character who's kind of like off screen, and that had the difficult task of making fucking Dragonite look badass.
Oh right, yeah, that's the one. I've seen the clips of that where Dragonite's just fucking destroying computers.
Yeah, as you do when you, and also Team Rocket swaggering towards Lance and Dragonite. The only way I can describe their walk cycle is as swaggling.
Right.
Intentionally trying to look cool while walking.
Mm-hmm. They got that swagger. They got that what the... Oh, okay. Let's see how this Comet Punch works. Okay, well, it worked well enough for that punk Wailord. About to use Raticate! Also, apparently the One Punch Man dub came out, or is coming.
Yeah, I think it's on Toonami. People have mixed opinions about it.
Yeah, well, mainly the main thing I've heard is that like the voice acting's really bad. Apparently.
Well, yeah, because I mean the dub, not the people are good on like the anime on principle. Though people say the manga is still better, like because.
Yeah, I mean I've read all of the manga up until all that was released up until January of this year, and then I've read all of the webcomic, which goes crazy much farther than the manga.
Also, they did they just I think wrapped up at least the first season of a Psycho Mob 100%. Or Psycho Mob 100.
Is that another one by the One Punch Man?
Yeah, same guy. It was his main thing. One Punch Man was a side thing he was doing.
Gotcha.
And it's more like in his style, and it is also apparently pretty good.
Yeah,
I
mean,
boy who just has unlimited psychic power.
Oh, fucking Delibird, right?
It also has its own meme of redrawing one of the characters in various images.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't realize that was what that was from. I've seen that meme.
Yeah, including kind of recursively some images from One Punch Man. Particularly, okay. You know what I'm talking about, I think.
Yeah. No, that's yeah.
That's one of the iconic images.
I just like because it reverts to the webcomic style for like a couple of frames.
Well, yeah, for comic effect.
Yeah.
Also, what is with this? What is with this sassy lost child? Yeah. Let's see. And it's got to a point where when I fall on top, rotoscope the a scene from Tim and Eric Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. Shit.
Okay.
I'm okay. But that's the funniest scene because what did you expect from that, Paul Rudd? What was your end game there, and how was that different from what you saw? And also, wife calling, it's emergency. It seems an emergency. I have serious business to do. That scene is, basically that skit is perfect in every way. The best thing Tim and Erica have ever done.
Yeah, it's one of the few things I know from them.
That and it's free real estate.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen a lot of Tim and Eric in general.
Well, yeah, it's very hit or miss.
Like a lot of sketch comedy.
But them especially so. I did enjoy some of the show they did before that. Tom Goes to the Mayor.
I haven't even heard of that one.
It was a show where like it was rotoscope cutouts of them, and like it was about this guy who was pitching stuff to this weird mayor.
Huh.
And usually getting segued by shenanigans. Who, the guy who was pitching stuff was like the sane man, and the rest of the town was insane, kind of things.
Gotcha.
I remember the Christmas episode, which involved a T-shirt with a rat taking a hat off that said "Rats off to you," and it becoming extremely popular. I think it got stolen from like the same guy. And he tried to make his own rival shirt called "Hats Off to You," which is a hat taking off a hat, but was not nearly as popular.
Okay.
Mostly, I just remember "Rats Off to You." And I would in fact own that shirt. Oh, do you remember the? Oh yeah, you do. I don't think you watched Venture Brothers. There was a brief time where the Venture Brothers had a T-shirt club, where you could get like, because they mentioned in commentary before, like bad ideas for T-shirts, like Dean on just Dean's name on like brown text on an off brown shirt. Well, oh no, it's Gardor, based on a robot that shows up in like one episode. Well, 2 episodes, I think, actually. And yeah. So every month, or every week, you could sign in for getting a T-shirt. It wasn't that popular because people didn't know it existed, and they comment on this a fucking T-shirt club that no one knows exists. That sounds like a good idea. The commentary for those is great because you see it also gives you the the precursor to what Shore Leave was, in that they had the concept for a character named Holy Diver, which would be like a diver holding like a crucifix. And that eventually turned into like one of the what Shore Leave went under when he was like a fake Christian. Because Shore Leave's character is that he's an incredibly gay man.
Huh. Yeah.
Like, in the fact they have also, the Alchemist, who's also a character who's also gay, but kind of normal, to offset that. Like, what Shore Leave is. Alchemist having the famous line, "This is pretty gay," and this is coming from someone who voluntarily has sex with men. It also had Alchemist was part of Dr. Orpheus's team along with Jackson Twilight, who had the power who was a Blackula hunter.
What? Okay.
Yeah, and someone said, "So you hunt African American vampires?" "No, I also hunt vampires for England." Listen, they're Blackulas. I don't know what the PC term for them is.
Shit.
Also, it has all the supervillains, the supervillain guild is all controlled by famous musicians.
Nice.
And the head of it is David Bowie, who has shape-shifting powers.
Well, yeah, because he's the Goblin King.
Yeah. And, the Big Bopper is also a member of it, who faked his death when he wanted to join up.
Mm-hmm.
I think him and another one get their, heads sewn together when, Phantom Limb goes crazy and tries to get revenge on the, Guild of Calamitous Intent. They also feature one of their tribunals, them shooting at guys. Okay, we can understand murdering someone, but drugs? It's that kind of organization.
Right.
It is the reason why, superheroes and, adventurers work. It's because there's an organization of villains that make sure that villains just don't go crazy and kill everyone.
Also, that is the face of someone who is lost. Oh.
I don't know where you get this stuff. When you don't watch TV, you sound like you're channeling the voices of crazy dead people.
Also, Amda, I don't speedrun any other games right now. I've been kind of looking for other games to speedrun, because I've sort of plateaued in Necrodancer, but nothing else is like...
Yeah, I know you've been trying, what's it called, Shovel Knight.
Yeah, I kind of tried that, but, I think I need another kind of, another more, kind of, roguelike game, because...
have you tried, no. The game with the triangle that had a lot of money.
Are you talking about, fucking, Nuclear Throne?
Yeah, Nuclear Throne. Yeah, have you tried Nuclear Throne?
I've played Nuclear Throne a couple of times. I might need to play it more. I kind of stopped playing it after, one day where every time I played it, I did worse.
They've changed it a lot. In order to lock the triangle now, you have to go to the Rap Dimension. Which I can tell you how to reach the Rap Dimension if you need it.
Yeah, I've only ever made it, halfway to the Nuclear Throne, so...
Me neither, yeah, same.
Yeah, no, it's fun, but there's some days that it's, that it, wears on you. Although the same can be said of Necrodancer. Because, yeah, I was just trying to speedrun Shovel Knight because I enjoyed that game, and then I realized, I'm just doing the same thing, and, it's just becoming muscle memory. And it's just like a routine, I don't have to... It's gonna come to a point where I don't have to think about it, it's just... I do this thing. Although I am still trying to get all the, achievements in Shovel Knight.
Chivos, man.
All them Chivos. Because the Chivos in that are actually kind of interesting, well... They're your very classic ones, but they're your...
The classic in, the Mega Man Chivo ways.
Yeah, and also just, get all the collectibles and stuff like that. Or, although I had a lot of fun doing Plague Knight low percent.
Do you ever beat, I Wanna Be the Guy?
Fuck no, I've gotten, I think the farthest I've gotten into that game was, 5 screens.
Yeah, same. I don't think I ever got past, I think I managed to beat, Mike Tyson, but I never got past that.
You've gotten further than I have then, I haven't even gotten to I haven't even gotten any of the bosses.
At some point you fight Craig Geef.
You fight who?
Which is exactly what it sounds like.
Wait, you fight who?
Craig Geef. Which is exactly what it sounds like.
So it's Zangief and Kraid?
It's Zangief. It's Kraid, but Zangief.
Huh. Although I did get... I played a lot of Wings of Vi for a while, but then I also got... I think I got to the part where you're you have to flutter double jump between fucking lightning bolts that immediately kill you. And I got to the point where I got to the last one before the checkpoint, and I couldn't figure out the right order of jumps you needed to do to get there. And I was at the point where every time I did that, getting almost to that checkpoint took a couple of minutes in itself, and I just got frustrated because I could have kept doing a game that, like, masochistically brutal if the checkpoints were closer.
By the way, I saw you got the hate stuff.
Yeah, because it was 80% off.
Yeah, possibly because that lady's new game is coming out.
Oh, what's the new game she's doing?
The Lady Killer in a Bind. It is it is an unapologetic smut game.
Huh. Okay, this is a fucking ghost.
Though I heard like the philosophy on it is like most dating sim like games, like the sex parts are like the parts you are at the end, because you know that's what you get.
Yeah, that's it's the climax of the relationship.
Yeah, but like you know, like she's like actually relationships are a lot more than just you know you have sex and then it's relationship.
I didn't delete the Twitter question.
What Twitter question?
So Amda also speedruns No Time to Explain, but he abbreviated on his Twitter as NOTTER, or No Time to Explain for No Time to Explain Remastered. And I'm like, what's Nodder? I can't find anything about this game, and I've done all the searching for it. Nodder video game.
Nodder. Well, you want Nodder video?
Yeah,
game.
I didn't delete it.
You should play some walking simulators. Seriously, walking simulators are pretty good games usually.
Also, man, talking about fucking other simulators. I just now saw that fucking Vinesauce Rev has been doing speedruns of like visual novels that people give him, and he just did. Which is, by speedrun, I mean he just holds down the button to advance the dialogue so he doesn't have to read anything while trying to guess what the plot of the game is. And he just did the one for fucking Major Minor, the furry visual novel.
The furry visual novel, Matt?
It's the infamous one.
Oh, that type of the...
Yeah, it's also like, yeah. It also doesn't, it's also like weirdly, it's also weirdly PG. I think. I don't know.
Okay, so how is it that infamous?
Because the guy who made it's apparently kind of an asshole and he deleted all negative reviews on Steam.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
And also he posts, and also while Major Minor has no porn in it, he apparently posts porn on the Twitter account that he used to promote the game. Porn of his weird pop star character.
Alright.
Which I don't know. Yeah, that's your thing. Maybe don't be that. Maybe don't be that guy. He also actually responded to the video that Rev posted of the speedrun of the game.
The best thing about Steam reviews is just, like, fucking, Digital Homicide getting nuked off Steam because of them.
Oh yeah, fucking... And their fucking lawsuit with Jim Sterling's still going.
Yeah, like...
That guy's not gonna stop until he's, like, destroyed himself. And he's basically already almost done. Have you also, like, I've actually looked at the actual the court documents are all online. Like, you can look at the legal proceedings. James Stanton, who is the actual Jim Sterling, he has an actual legal team with 2 lawyers. James Romine, who runs Digital Homicide, is representing himself.
Listen, I don't want to deal with this fuck man and have to eat his ass for a bag of chips.
And also, the thing I like is that there's 33 documents in the fucking Romine versus Stanton case, and all of them are Romine puts forth the summons to Stanton, and then Stanton's legal team responds with a motion to dismiss the case, and then Romine files a motion to deny the motion to dismiss, and it just keeps going back and forth.
I object to your objection.
And it's got, like, if you read the documents, it's like Romine tried to, like, so Stan's legal team is dismissing the case because there's like there's no reasonable cause and no jurisdiction because Ramin's trying to get it processed in the state of Arizona where he lives because he thinks he can get home team advantage or something. Alright, fucking Shedinja has Wonder Guard. But then like, so he's like, see, and part of the reason that part of his denial of the motion to dismiss the case is that Jim Sterling does operate in Arizona because he was able to buy one of Jim Sterling's shirts. And to which Jim Sterling's legal team responded like, first off, you bought that shirt from Shark Robot, which is in no way owned or operated by Jim Sterling. Second off, you can't create precedent and jurisdiction by buying a t-shirt. And this guy, like, man, yeah, I don't know. This guy, I feel kind of bad for him.
But at the same time,
like,
he is being the definition of frivolous lawsuits right now.
Yeah, no, he is. His hubris is his downfall.
Like the hot coffee thing, that was like a legit thing. He is just fucking. He should be the new example for frivolous lawsuits.
Yeah, goddamn. And also, like, what is this? Remember, this picture has been actually used as evidence of a legal team. It's a screenshot of a profile pic that says Dragon Fuckers League. Ah, fuck, I've seen that picture. I didn't realize what it was. I didn't realize the context for it. Also, that reminds me, semi-related, somebody got the picture of the... Also, yeah, the coffee is... the coffee has been proven to be a legit thing that McDonald's blew out of proportion to...
Yeah, they fucking overheated the shit out of that coffee.
Yeah, and then McDonald's overblew it to say, like, oh, this woman sued because her coffee was hot, and she's dumb, and it's like, no, she actually got, like, third-degree burns, like...
It melted the styrofoam. The problem was not with her spilling the coffee. And being
the problem was the coffee was fucking... Yeah, the coffee was actually dangerous. Oh, man. Also, talking about the fucking Dragon Fuckers League being presented as evidence in a court case, I remember... somebody on Twitter has a picture of, somebody commissioned a marble sculpture of, like, that picture of dragons fucking a car.
I mean...
Or, like, a marble...
on the intelligence of the dragon, that sounds plausible.
That's the Dragon's fucking cars is a meme. It's a really bizarre fucking meme.
Well, I mean, if they're, like... If these are animalistic creatures, unlike, you know, some dragons which are intelligent... You know,
I'm not sure because this was just. I think these were all from some guys.
And also, even if they are sapient, they would probably. There are humans that fuck cars. There would be dragons.
Yeah, I know. It's just. Yeah, I think this was just from some guys like DeviantArt, and like most of his art was dragons fucking cars, and then it became a meme of other people just drawing dragons fucking cars. Also, what's this dude about?
Oh, you're gonna fight Sabrina soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight Sabrina as soon as I can figure out how the hell to get to her.
Was it oh, wait. Sabrina, but they would both, I guess, be reference names. Sabrina and Serena. Though it's Sabrina more than Serena, I guess. Because Serena is only the English dub of Sailor Moon.
Okay, I'm not familiar with the, Oh, okay, there's actually two different subreddits for Dragons Fucking Cars.
Why are there two?
Because one of them is Dragons Fucking Cars, one of them is Cars Fucking Dragons. There's also Dragons Fucking Dragons, which that's just porn.
Yeah, that's fucking.
Not the I mean, Dragons Fucking Cars is somebody's porn. It's very specifically one person's
Dragons
porn.
fucking is just normal at this point.
Yeah. That's how desensitized I am to things.
When you're in the furry, when you are
Yeah, I know that's
furry
yeah.
big umbrella. As long as it's not cock for, like.
Yeah, no. Fuck. So a brief tangent before we get off of this forever, is that I have, man, I can talk like a grizzled war vet of things I've seen in the furry community. Because I have seen porn that look like fucking H.R. Giger paintings.
I mean, H.R. Giger painting porn, there's some comparison there.
H.R. Giger paintings were his nightmares, which he painted for therapy.
Yeah, but they're also very sexual.
Yeah.
So, you know, someone got off to them.
Probably. I mean, there's a guy that gets off to rapping a Swedish... it gets off to, like, stories of rapping a Swedish pop star in cellophane, so...
Well, that's just...
That guy was on Martin Sargent, talking about the stories he writes. Back when Martin Sargent was on the air.
That seems worse than the guy who wrote the Garfield stuff. Like, at least he wasn't on public television. Talking about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
Though I think his stuff is weirder than the...
Yeah, no, I actually read one of the stories he wrote, or one of the excerpts of stories he wrote, and they're fucked up. They're super fucked up.
Well, I don't want people thinking that I would have... I didn't want people thinking I was gay or had a thing for animals. So I put Pam Anderson's body on Garfield's head.
Yeah, no, like, that part of it is actually tame compared to what the fucking story is, like... Like, there's a reason Griffin didn't read it.
Jealous rage.
There's a reason that Griffin did not read that story on Mabim Bam, because it's disturbing as hell. Oh, right, Psychic is... Wait, yes, Psychic moves?
I
Okay.
keep Odie around. I like his company, and I enjoy when he watches.
Yeah, and, yeah. His, yeah, just remember... Oh, yeah, just remember your thing is not my thing, and that's okay. Yeah, no, everything is someone's fetish somewhere.
Yeah.
You can't judge. Well, I mean...
You can.
You can.
Yeah, if you're
Like, most of the time, it's... Like, if it's not hurting anybody, then okay. But there's some parts, like, yeah, the fucking Garfield monstrosity, those stories are like, no, dude, you need to talk to somebody.
Well, that one guy on DeviantArt who I once saw, who has, like, just pictures of people getting chloroformed and named Chloroformio. Like, from movies and shit.
Huh. I should probably swap out Jeff Jarrett. He's getting side beamed to hell and back. Also, fittingly, Sabrina actually does have a psychic Pokemon.
Whoa, no, what? That's not a psychic Pokemon, that's just a Pokemon.
No, it's a Pokemon that has psychic moves, which is more... That's more gym-themed, like, continuity than we've seen in any other gym in this game.
Oh, when...
Hmm?
I just forgot Namazu evolved.
Oh yeah, that was last time.
Yeah. I just remembered it was on parody that you could not distinguish from the real thing. I remember Comics Nick's fan fictions, which all in like intentionally the grossest shit ever.
Oh yeah, were those the ones with the poop virus?
Yeah, the poop virus that turned you into poop.
Now was he like Peter Chimera and then he intentionally wrote like garbage?
I think so. Like, because, you know, I doubt this is a person who thinks vaginas can be ripped off and eaten by Wolverine.
Fucking God. Also, just you talking about that reminds me of, I've been listening to the podcast, My Dad Wrote a Porno, based on Max's suggestion, And there is one episode of that where the female co-host of that has to stop them reading the story, and like she gets a diagram of a vagina to point out how wrong the description here is. Because there's lines in there like he's like grab it like the one of the characters is grabbing another character's cervix, and she's like, all right, so this is the labia, then past that is the vagina. And then the cervix can be, the beginning of the cervix can be seen with certain medical devices.
Yeah, you gotta be deep up in there. Like, you have to be really fisting it to, like, be able to grab that part.
It's like, yes, it's like he grabbed her cervix and then immediately, like, gave her a prolapse.
Like, yeah, I heard, like, some portals describing, like, a penis rubbing up against that because it's just so big.
Yeah, no, this guy just keeps...
Not like, you know, punching a hole through it. Not how...
God. Oh, God.
No, that part dips... When the lady orgasms, that part dips down to collect... I remember watching this in a sex thing on Discovery, because I was a horny teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And anything
like you do.
I could get, you know, I will watch those Lifetime original movies where, like, the guy cheats on his wife.
Also, hey, she actually has a psychic Pokemon.
In that regard, I remember watching Cyberdeath Subduction and being very disappointed.
Watching what?
Cyberdeath Subduction, about the teen who had the porn addiction.
Okay, was that actually like a Lifetime thing?
Yeah, it was where we get the porn title Virgin Vaginas. At one point, for a brief second, bondage hentai is on the screen, and that is the closest it gets to actual, like, sexy things. It's the most PG description of porn that I've ever seen. Though it does imply this guy has, like, a bondage fetish, which, you know, not kinks. Like, hey, if you're discovering that's your thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Because he, like, specifically brings that, like, because I guess they did that because that's, like, porn where you're mostly covered up.
Also, Amda, I haven't actually played a game of trying to... What? Okay, I haven't actually played a game of reading fanfics to see who can go the longest without laughing. And also, Rainbow Dash seduces a watermelon?
Sounds about right. Now,
but one of my
Rainbow Dash or Pony Rainbow Dash?
Oh yeah, this is important. Is it Equestria girls or ponies?
Yeah.
This is an important distinction for some reason.
Well, okay, you see, you know the Monster High girls, right? Hasbro wanted to counter that, and they realized, like, oh, people making these anthropomorphizations of, like, the My Little Pony characters is getting really popular. Let's do that. Like, let's leech off that My Little Pony popularity, and, like, people are already doing these let's us cash in. Because we need something to battle Clone High.
Right. Okay, it is ponies.
Like Clone High, but off brand.
Also, in the vein of reading something and trying not to laugh, my friends and I actually did a table reading of the one and only Meet the Parents fanfic that we could find on the internet.
Yeah, wasn't it Meet the Fockers, but it came out before the movie Meet the Fockers?
Yeah, it was this person speculating what the plot of Meet the Fockers would be, and for some reason it involves a lost diamond necklace. It's
that sounds about right.
It's also sadly not complete.
Oh, because Meet the Fockers came out, and he's like, oh my, it's fucking... I can't do better than the creators.
Yeah, no, actually the last update is shortly before the movie Meet the Fockers comes out. Also, there's apparently another fic in that vein called And the Kitchen Sink, in which Rainbow Dash seduces a kitchen sink. Also, this thing you're describing reminds me of the comic that is like... It's like a parody of porn where it's told from the perspective of a fridge that's getting, like, excited that food is being put in it.
I don't think that's a parody. That sounds like a real thing. You can make anything horny, Matt.
Yeah, like, well, it's just like I've only seen one page from it, and it's just this guy opening his fridge and putting food in it, and the fridge is like, yeah, the fridge is describing like a state of arousal of the guy putting food in it.
That reminds me, I think on the back of the comment, Christine Love, I think she would like made a tweet about like you know that game that came on Steam that some people are describing as a hornier portal.
Is that the one that's the first-person shooter that's supposed to be the sexual shooter, and so there's just like the biggest hits?
No, are you thinking of Galgun? Because it's not Galgun. It's the one with the robot lady.
No. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That the main character, it's supposed to be sexual, and what that means is the main character just has massive tits for some reason.
And she put out the thing like, how could you tried to make Portal but hornier, but Portal's already pretty horny. How can you do hornier than a robot lady who sometimes compliments you? And then in the sequel is constantly disapproving of your actions. And also fucking Steve Merchant like fucking blowing a wad over you solving a puzzle.
Oh right, yeah, cause the thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Cause he's got the feedback thing. He just needs to keep testing. Also, let's see what Gardevoir has here.
And that explaining why fucking GLaDOS even had was even going through the testing thing in the first place and not just trying to straight up kill Shell in the sequel.
Yeah. Also, man, Gardevoir's moves are not very good. That is unfortunate.
Alright. Well, goodbye, Doctor.
You shall not be our companion this time.
Oh, by the way, Surf is a good move to teach Pokemon. It's so don't be afraid to teach it to Namazu.
Oh yeah, do I have that yet?
Yeah, Surf and Strength for like the actual good HMs.
What HMs do I have right now, anyway?
Do you have the Pokeflute?
I have Cut and Flat. I do. I need to...
Yeah, so maybe let's go down to Ninja City.
Take me down to the... Oh yeah, I haven't even fought Koga in them yet, have I?
Yeah, well you could, yeah. Well, this is an
Yeah, I
open-ended
totally,
game.
yeah.
You could fight Sabrina or you could fight Koga. In the manga, Koga's a bad guy and his fucking... Like, Pokemon get their head cut off and shit.
Yeah, that's one of the panels from the original manga I've seen.
And I think also Sabrina's a bad guy, but I think she later turns into a good guy.
Yeah, no, the Pokemon manga was bananas.
Yeah, weird.
Also, I think there were separate mangas for Red, Blue, and Green.
Yeah, it's weird like that. And they also, like, each
Green was
generation had the new protagonist. Which
Yeah.
is the way they should have done to the anime instead of
Ash just kind of changing hats.
and changing hats and forgetting and leaving some Pokemon behind. Does Ash even still use Pikachu, or is it just like his buddy now?
Fuck.
Also, why does Ash have to can only keep 6 Pokemon when Pikachu never goes inside the ball?
Because reasons.
I mean, I guess that's the thing in Yellow and also Heart Gold, Soul Silver, but... And then they never did that again for some reason.
Where's my fucking map? Wait, which? Oh yeah, we're trying to get to Fuchsia.
Yeah. Fuchsia. And you go to the fucking islands where they made fucking Mewtwo. You can go down from the haunted place, or you could go through the bike route, I think is the thing. I think both routes, you have to get through a Snorlax, though.
Right. Yeah, because we got there before and we couldn't pass.
You gotta go south.
Okay, let me. Well, I can't go through. I don't think I can go through. I go through Lavender Town? Oh, I can.
Yeah, there, down there.
Come on, there we go. Thank you. Actually, what's
Try
up this...
fishing here. Or actually, try going up there first. Maybe someone has something for you.
My Pokemon's ashes are stored in the Pokemon Tower. You can have this TM. I don't need it anymore because my Pokemon's dead. It's Twin Needle.
Well, maybe it was Twin Needle, but what is it really?
What's my game time? I don't know. Let me see. 16 hours. It's actually not. That's actually a lot less time than I thought we've been playing.
Actually, a little bit more than I thought we've been playing. Yeah, try fishing here. See what you catch.
Oh yeah, we haven't fished in a while.
We gotta fish so we can, we gotta fish, and so, we haven't gotten to that part of the where I explain what fishing does in Dark Cloud 2 yet.
I might need the better rod to fish here, I'm not sure. I still only have the starter rod. I don't remember where you get the super rod and ultra rod.
I don't know. I'm not... You might find them on the ground somewhere.
Also, how you doing, OGZ 73?
You got the rope.
Me tang.
Yeah.
This is a ROM hack. This is it uses the Pokemon,
randomizer.
the Pokemon Randomizer. Which...
By the rando, die by the rando.
Yeah, the Pokemon Randomizer can be used on any of the ROMs except for X and Y, because it can be...
The emulation hasn't kind of worked out for them yet.
Yeah. I don't know, let me just try to catch this fucker.
Also in games I've played recently, I've recently played some of the... I forget if I tell you. I recently played some of the SRW, J game, which has G Gundam in it. It's actually interesting how they handle the plot of G Gundam, because it doesn't lend itself to, like, a tactical robot game. You know...
Right, yeah, because it's a goofy, like,
fighting
sports
tournament,
thing,
mostly that it's a fighting tournament.
Yeah.
And they kind of sidestep the whole fighting tournament, and then and Domo and his friends just have like giant robots, because I mean there's a bunch of other people who just have giant robots. And yeah, they mostly like Handwave explaining like it's mostly just about Devil Gundam in Master Asia. And they mentioned Gundam fights were a thing in the past, but they don't actually say, like, oh, this is a Gundam fight, or... Because one-on-one fighting does not lend a multi-unit tactic game very well.
Right, yeah. Also cool.
It also explains where... Because it also is, like, it crosses over with Gundam Seed. And in Gundam Seed originally, this Gundam came from an acronym that showed up on, like, the boot-up screen of the Gundams, which why they were called Gundams. Even though they were just Mobile Suit X, whatever, they were sometimes referred to as Gs. But no, they actually look like Gundams, so, like, these mobile fights, so we call them Gundams. They look like these things these martial artists use, so that's what we call them. Though Seed was in love with acronyms.
They set abbreviations for everything.
Yeah, like, you had Plants, Zaft, Seed, let's see,
Also, hey, that's cool. This is the first
Gundam,
Pokemon game I've actually played in like 6 years. Also, I realized I was trying to catch another legendary there, apparently.
Meteor, Meteor, Pax, At one point they have Zaku's in that, but that's an acronym too. So that's in Deep Destiny when things really get shitty. Though apparently the Ashtray spin-off is decent. Because the universe is, you know, the principles of the universe are solid enough that the spin-off manga... Because the spin-off manga is based on, there's this mercenary team that is like there's this. So in the colony that blows up in the first episode, because of course, or so, like like they where they were building the Gundam, they still had these prototype Gundams there, and like a junk team that was like salvaging all the junk there finds one of them, and then a mercenary team that was like hired to clean up the site, and by clean up I mean kill anyone, all witnesses shows up and gets the upper one. And then another, like, a people hired by the corporation show up to try and kill the mercenary team and the junk team. And, basically, it is a scenario where everyone wants these, like, robots. And, like, these guys, like, surviving in this, like, war that all wants their shit. Like, they start, like, instead of, like, trying to be Gundam and then becoming enemy of the, like, being, like, a rogue faction enemy of the galaxy, they instead just start out that way from the beginning. They start off neutral parties instead of, we're the Federation's like, actually no, they're just as bad as the other guys. Which was the point of Seed. In a regular Gundam, the Federation is kind of bad, but they're still not as bad as usually the people they fight. Unless you count the Titans as part of the Federation, in which case they are just as bad.
OGZ, we're talking over Skype. Pretty much all of my friends are online. Any of the ones that I broadcast with are all online. And Amda, I listened to Welcome to Night Vale. I stopped after about halfway through the second season because I got kind of tired of it. I'm also like, so was that all the stuff they changed for like this tactical Gundam game?
Yeah. Well, it's not a Gundam game. It's a crossover with Gundam and Mazinger and
it's like a super.
It's a series of games.
It's a whole Robo crossover thing.
Yeah, Super Robot Wars. Yeah, there's a series of crossovers.
Okay.
Sometimes the Avas show up. And they actually brought up the interesting point that third impact only affects Earth. So anyone in space at the time is completely unaffected. And they just get back to Earth and like, what the Christ just happened here? Because usually, like the two big ones, like all the ones with Avas in them, like the middle ones before the rebuild movies happen, usually like just fucked around with the end of Ava storyline.
Oh jeez, okay.
Like at one point, let's see, in one of them, like it's the scene where Asuka's about to get eaten by all the MP Avas, and then the guy shows up and gives a speech on the concept of Deus Ex Machina while the reinforcements arrive, and that gives you a boost.
God damn it. Okay.
Let's see.
And we just started doing a Dark Cloud 2 Let's Play.
There's another one where it's the same scene, only instead it begins with Asuka destroying all these Zeta villains, and then the MP Avas show up, and then all the Zeta Gundam guys show up and help her fight the MP Avas. It's usually that scene where things start turning around. You know, when Asuka doesn't just get murdered.
Right, yeah.
There's also, they had this thing with Rexaphon. So Rexaphon, was kind of based on Evangelion, but also based on this earlier thing called Godamar or something. No, I forget. But they tie those into each other in this game. And one of the things is there's an episode of Rexaphon where the protagonist gets absorbed into like one of the bad mech monsters. And is put into like an alternate reality that's based on what he thought his reality was, and like where everything's kind of not the same, but like weird in like a kind of we're attuning yourself. This reality is attuning itself to your desires, kind of a way. And also it also was the episode where combined that with the episode where Shinji gets absorbed by the two-dimensional angel. And instead of like it trying to adjust itself for Shinji, it just puts him in a fucking train and has him talk to literally himself. And a good portion of that is Shinji running around there trying to convince the guy it's a bad idea and then getting yelled at by the simulation.
Huh.
And so he just hangs out in a park and waits for the main character to get the idea and come back with him. Also, on the subject of Evangelion Seed, there's also one part where... So, a thing about...
Oh, you mean Gundam Seed?
Yeah, Gundam Seed. Okay, a weird thing about is they establish relationships with characters, between series. And one interesting one is the one between the protagonist of the Gundam, Camille, and the one and Shinji Ikari, because they actually get along pretty well. Because they have come from weird, both come from dysfunctional families that
right.
and are kind of thrusted into this thing that are is bigger than them.
Mm-hmm.
And both have very miserable but in unique ways lives. Like Camille, most of his friends die, and not in the crossover games because usually they keep them alive because people like the characters. But still,
right.
He still has the fact that his dad tried to kill him once.
Yeah, that's not cool.
And also almost got his mind broken by another psychic after he killed him once. Which actually happens in the actual Zeta Gundam. That's how that ends. It's with him getting his mind crippled by a psychic assault by another new type. And he spent the rest of Double Zeta basically in a coma. Heck. And so, basically what happens is, I think Kira Yamamoto, the protagonist of Seed, is, whining about something. And, throwing a real hissy fit about it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically him and Camille and Shinji tell him to, calm the fuck down. Listen, dude, we understand, but your problem... You do not need to act like this. We have been through some shit we know. Also, interesting part about these Robot Wars games. In each game, they usually introduce an original character to tie the plot together.
Mm-hmm.
So they can be an original villain that everyone can fight. And they've gotten so many original characters that now there's a series that is just the original characters in a giant crossover game.
Nice.
One of them recently got released in English due to Southeast Asian market.
Huh.
Not a great translation. The original first two for the Advance were released in English, but then they got remade for the PS2, which was a much better storyline. But then that didn't get translated. They did translate the spin-off, which was which was a crossover with Marvel x Capcom original characters and also Xeno Saga, because it had Cosmos in it. And it had the cowboy who had a gun sword, and a bunch of boobies. Whole bunch of fan service in that game. And also, no one would ever refer to each other by their names. They would just come up with new nicknames for each other.
Oggs, we actually just beat Sabrina, so we did the 7th gym, and now we're going. We
did the 7th gym. I think you can.
Oh no, we did the 6th gym. Now we're going back to the 5th gym.
Is it the 6th? I think if you can beat it. Because
Blaine's the 7th.
Whatever. I think Koga is because you get access to SILPH CO right after the tower. So that's the 6th gym. That's the 5th gym.
Yeah, I'm just guessing we're gonna blaze through this because we have because we have a considerably stronger party than is expected for this part, I think.
I know, it also expects you to go down of one of two routes, one of which is the bike path.
Yeah, but remember, we almost got smoked by Chaz because his Pokemon were like 5 levels ahead of ours.
Oh, he's a god.
Yeah, it's fitting.
I love Kia forever.
There we go.
Alright,
there we
try
go.
and catch this Snorlax.
Yeah, let's see what it actually. Let's see if it is a Snorlax actually.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you have a Master Ball.
I do.
Use that on a good Pokemon like a Zapdos or a Rattata.
Fucking right.
A hard to catch Pokemon. By the way, haven't caught a Rattata yet? Because I have a good name for one.
I don't know if we've caught a Rattata actually.
Tell me if when we catch a Rattata, because I have a good name for it.
I
One
guess
that you will appreciate.
yes, use the fucking flip. Snorlax woke up and attacked in a grubby rage. Ah!
And it is...
It's a Viper. We don't have one
Snake.
of those.
Sure, yeah, let's get us a Viper. That's cool, Snake. Well, of the 3 Snake Pokemon I can name off the top of my head. Well, I guess it's 5, because one is 3 evolutions of a Snake Pokemon.
All
Okay,
right.
6, because one has Arbok and Snake are 2 evolutions. Then you have Viper, and then you have Snivy and its evolutions. Did you know Arbok spelled backwards is Cobra?
No, but I didn't know Relic spelled backwards is killer.
The best part about that is is in the Silent Night, Deadly Night, a Bloody Night or whatever match, had a brief cameo from the future Mil Mortez in it, as Judas Macias, the brother of Abyss. Also, no, my favorite part is Shark Boy was evolved for no reason. We need 4 people for this match. Who is the person standing closest to me right now? You, the man in the fish hat!
that was all TNA, right?
Yeah, TNA. Which is in the process of dying again?
I really thought it was already gone.
No, it is in a state of unlife right now. It is the definition of a zombie company.
There we go.
Because
All right,
it's losing-
Survivor, right? Because Survivor.
It is what potential new owner. Though its potential owners include literal Nazis. Let's see.
Oh yeah, what do we call
Nate-
Survivor?
Spawn.
Oh right, yeah, because that's the name of fucking David's snake.
By the way, if we catch Rattata, name it David.
God damn it!
Or Eradicate, both work.
Fucking man, that arc is super fucked up.
Where's Rat Boy?
And then I like that his fucking cat's named Megadeth.
To be fair, Megadeth is an appropriate name for a cat.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, like, I could get into a cat named Megadeth. Megadeth did the Duke Nukem theme, right? Like the cover of the Duke Nukem theme.
I don't actually know, to be honest.
I know there is a metal band that did like the cover of the Duke Nukem theme.
I don't know. You're the one who's interneting.
Fucking, hold on, let me look up Duke Nukem theme.
Oh, there we go. Town. Okay, I was looking for map. I forgot it's called town map.
Oh yeah, it was Megadeth.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the.
Yeah, the thing that was the only oh man. I just remember when 3D Realms went to, I think it was like E3, they had a trailer for all of the different Duke Nukem games they were going to release. That there was like, because there's Duke Nukem Forever, and then there was also like Duke Nukem like Cold Winter or something. What the okay.
I'm gonna breed something. Zap.
What's he breeding with a fucking car battery and jumper cables?
Yeah, well, it's not the type of breed. It's not Pokemon breeding. I'll tell you what.
I mean, I guess you could. Maybe that's how you make tiny Magnemites.
Listen,
you can't mirror my
We don't
move.
know how Pokemons reproduce.
I think that's my favorite awkward zombie comic. He's the person talking to the Pokemon breeder. He's like, you put two Pokemon together and somehow you get an egg. It's like, wait, you're a breeder? You don't know? Like, you fucking tell me. And it's like a Muck and a Drifloon. Wow.
And then there's also the classic pairing of Wailord and Skitty.
Oh, God.
The biggest size difference you can get in biggest breeding Pokemon.
Right. Oh, this was not a good choice. And then as you say that, Amda just responds with, well, Pokemon breeding gave us hot Skitty on Wailord action, so...
Oh, speaking of movies, I watched recently the Transformers movie. The original.
Right, yeah.
The one that's good, in any respect.
Yeah,
Okay, the one with, fucking,
The one that fucking Dare to Be Stupid.
Dare to Be Stupid on the Junk Planet for some reason. The Shaka Khans. And Orson Welles destroying everything.
You know, like you do. In
Also
between...
on the name as Galvatron.
Hmm?
By the way, fucking Optimus Prime gets no billing in that movie.
Huh. Well, I mean,
Like,
he does get punked
as
super...
Galvatron and fucking Orson Welles is... Like, I think even Hot Rod, gets his voice actor credit because, you know, he's the main character. But fucking, you know, this very important character, not the main character, but very important to the crux of the plot. Yeah, who cares? I guess, you know, like,
He gets punked super early on. Like, it's not Optimus Prime's story.
I guess also Megatron doesn't get credit. But again, Frank Welker plays like 5 people in that movie. And I assume any animal that shows up that makes an animal noise.
OGZ left.
Fuck. Right.
Oh boy, okay. This is,
I guess the biggest problem with that movie is it has very weird pacing.
Yeah, it's been since high school, so I don't remember, like, how that movie's structured.
Like, yeah, the fucking Optimus dying happens kind of early. And then it just cuts, like, it's just one scene, like, oh, now we're here. No, now we're here. Oh, Unicron's eating the moon. Like, it's very weird pacing.
Yeah, because, I mean, they had to include, like, all of the Transformers.
They had to also kill off the ones that we already had the toys for.
Right, yeah.
That they didn't realize people would just buy more Optimus Prime. Like, people would buy Optimus, like, but like, no, fucking, we already sold you Optimus Prime. Now we get into the fucking, Wheelie.
Also, I like, one of the Transformers I remember from that is Blur, and that he's super fast, but that doesn't make him effective at anything.
He's super fast and also talks very fast, and he's kind of annoying.
He could have pitched Micro Machines.
Yeah.
Because yeah, because he talks super fast and he's just nervous about everything. Like,
and then there's Wheelie, who talks in rhyme and befriends the Dinobots for some reason.
I mean, someone's gotta.
Grimlock could do way better.
Yeah, Grimlock King.
I like that. Like, they have to keep the Dinobots around though, because fuck. Like, Dinobots, Cup, and technically, I think Jazz survived even though he seems to die on screen, and technically, Bumblebee survived. Only Bumblebee gets rebuilt as Goldbug in the post movie.
Yeah, because yeah.
Because you already own Bumblebee.
Well, and also I think it was Maddox that described, like, what is it? The Volkswagen Bug was turned into the lamest Transformer, who was just as Bumblebee, who's what's fucking Teeter Dance? It's like Bumblebee's entire purpose in Transformers was to go around and like jam his fist up people's asses.
Listen, Bumblebee was fine. There are much worse Transformers, even Autobots. Like Perceptor, who turns into a microscope. Like fucking like they have a Blaster, who is the good Autobot version of Soundwave. Right down into
Is Blaster the one that contains all the tapes that turn into other smaller robots?
Both him and Soundwave do. Because Soundwave has like Rumble and the Hawk and the Panther one. That movie's also where we get the line though. Constructicons inferior, Soundwave superior. Where we, later got into Autobots inferior. No, I think he might have said that in the actual thing. It sounds like something he would say. Autobots inferior, Decepticons superior. In a sweet auto-tune voice. Because as soon as the fucking Megatron, as soon as Starscream throws Megatron out the space train, like they immediately get into a leadership battle. Because for some reason the Constructicons think they're the base combiner, even though we already have like Bruticus, who's also a combiner and pretty powerful, and also the Stunticons.
The Stunticons?
Okay, that introduced how Transformers were made. Because I believe the toy, they in their car mode, they could do stunts and shit. And that was the gimmick. And so, Megatron has to go back to Cybertron to get activate Vector Sigma to give these things their spark, to allow them to actually be Transformers and not just shitty robots. And they introduced this after they already built the Dinobots and the Combaticons, which are the ones who form Bruticus.
Huh.
So Transformers have already been, I think they said, okay, you need to include Vector Sigma, our new toy. Well, what's Vector Sigma do? Oh, he's the one that creates the Transformers. That would have been good to know! Yeah, that's where we also get the aerial bots from, too. Because the aerial bots were the Autobot combiners that were made to counteract the Stunticons. And,
also just super casual Lugia here.
Yeah, and the Aerobot thing was they weren't entirely sure about the Autobot's cause because they were just born. And like they were like, wait, you want us to get involved in this war? Fuck it, why do we want to do that? What is so great about humans? And like they just really didn't give a fuck. And then they went back in time and saw like Optimus Prime's origin story. And then like, okay, we'll be Autobots now. And fight the evil forces of the Decepticons.
Wasn't it like Def Leppard that did the opening to the movie?
I don't know. I don't think they did
They didn't do You Got the Touch, but they did the actual like Transformers theme, I think.
Yeah, maybe. And then they got Weird Al in it, so. But then again, it was a Weird Al song, not so much Weird Al made that song for this movie.
Yeah. And that was also like, I'm gonna say the height of Weird Al, because that was kind of the height of pop parody. That isn't to say that Weird Al isn't still popular, but I don't think he's as popular as he once was.
We live in a post-UH.
Man, UHF oh man, I've seen that movie probably 5 times. I got the DVD copy of it, which has actually like deleted scenes and commentary from Weird Al.
Let's see.
And I like that the deleted scenes part starts with Weird Al saying like, "Hi, I'm Weird Al." If I look different from the movie, that's because it was made 15 years ago. And we weren't expecting to, we weren't exactly planning for the DVD release of the movie back in the 80s. So, the only reason this exists is because one of the people from the movie just kept all of the cut footage in a shoebox in their closets.
As you do.
And it's like, they don't even show all of the deleted scenes because there's a lot of them, and most of them are pretty bad.
By the way, did you end up seeing they found, like, a beta of, like, what was gonna be a platformer on the CDI for Mario?
I've actually seen this. I've actually seen Super Mario's Wacky Worlds played. AVGN played that a long time ago. And it's, like, super incomplete.
Yeah.
Like, you can pick all of the individual levels, and most of them... I don't think any of them actually have enemies, and most of them don't have...
No, they have enemies.
Okay, some of...
I don't think they have collision with enemies.
Yeah, there's no collision, and, like...
Mario cannot die.
And, like, some of the levels aren't even complete, and also, you can't restart... The only way to restart the game is to turn the CDI off and turn it back on.
The CDI certainly was a thing. I remember recently also watching from like when Justin McElroy was doing all like the
he was doing
FFP,
yeah
FFP game, like the girl night out game where you have to guess which boy the other girl likes at your party. And the one who gets the best has the best date.
I should check the AGDQ list. I know somebody submitted a cutscene percent run of fucking I think Wand of Gamelon. I know it got rejected for SGDQ because I think it had been played too recently. And I think the AGDQ list was recently posted. I don't remember now.
I don't know. All I know is that they playing Yoshi's Cookie. The truest esport.
The original esport.
Listen, there is a lot of Listen, in most professional Yoshi's Cookie leagues, the -7 is soft banned. If you accidentally hit it, okay, whatever. But if you purposely hit a 7, you are forfeit the game.
This is like that fucking bracket of the Shrek fighting game, Tears.
Where Shrek is one of the worst characters.
Shrek is one of the worst characters, and also Red Riding Hood is banned.
Shrek and Donkey are the worst on the same tier side.
Yeah. Which makes sense, they're starters, like...
Mario usually does good in tier lists. Like, he's... like, not bad. I think the worst character in the most recent Smash game is usually regarded as Olimar. Because he's, like, a very gimmicky character.
Right, yeah. Because he's all based around summoning and using his Pikmins.
Yeah. I think highest tier for a while was Bayonetta, because when she got released, she was like just, crazy good.
Right, yeah. I remember also during
It was also weird that Bayonetta got into Smash Bros.
I mean, whatever, it's fucking... Well, yeah, whatever, like, Solid Snake's in there.
Yeah, but Solid Snake explicitly didn't use guns. And also... Also, his clothes didn't come off when he used his powers. But I guess Samus's did, but not as much.
Yeah, like, his power was not, like, sexuality-based.
Power was not based.
Okay, so drought overrode drizzle. Oh, okay, damn.
Then again, I guess they got like Shulk in a bathing suit, so.
Also, has No Time to Explain like never been in a GDQ, or are you saying like that you've never, or are you just saying that you've specifically never been in a GDQ? And what was the other thing? Sorry, I'm getting distracted. It's getting late. I think
what's that Pokemon? I have never seen that Pokemon before.
Cast form. Fuck if I know. It's like a weird. It's
that
like
looks fake. Like that looks like, oh, I made my fan Pokemon.
It's a radish with testicles.
No, that's a radish with tits. No.
Titsticles.
What are tits but the testicles for the chest?
Chesticles. Some may call them.
I was about to say for women, but that'd be too cis-centric of me.
Yeah.
Getting better on that though. Both
We
me
all
and Ed.
are.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I guess I'm surprised that, like, nobody runs No Time to Explain. It seems like, yeah, it seems like it would be a bit of a speed game since it's, like, a really, like, crazy, tight platformer. Yeah, I'm gonna punch out the cute Pokemon. There we go. About to use fucking Stantler. Yeah, everybody forgets Stantler. Even I forgot actually what
Apparently, Day of
Stantler
the
was.
Tentacle is on sale if you don't have it.
What?
Day of the Tentacle.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and there's an expansion for Mortal Kombat 2 X. You know, the new reason you can be. I think you get 4 playable characters. You can play Goro.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, include a Goro. New characters include horror icon Leatherface, the Xenomorph. Okay, yeah, you can play. You get like a skin, Leatherface, and the guy from Chainsaw Massacre, and a Xenomorph, and I think maybe 2 other new characters. Bo Ray Cho, and I guess Nate would know who these people were, maybe. So what do you think was a better Mortal Kombat? Mortal Kombat 2 or Mortal Kombat 3? Because it's kind of a decisive...
They're very, yeah, they're very different games, like... Ah, man. I think I played a lot more of Mortal Kombat 3. Like, I had both games, but I think I liked Mortal Kombat 3 a lot more when I played it. Because it had a lot more, I think, like, it had a much more defined combo system. And a bunch of other, like, different mechanics.
Like encouraged throws, which made the announcer say excellent every time you throw a person. Well, no, it was encouraged grabbing.
Yeah, I'm also not going to say I was, like, great at Mortal Kombat 3 by any
Mortal
extent.
Kombat game I had? 1 on the SNES.
Oh, shit, yeah. With the, yeah. I like that everybody gets mad at that one because it doesn't, because, Sub-Zero has a move that's actually, like, themed to him.
No, I think most people get mad at that one because it's like, there's no blood in it. Because it's
Yeah, that was, yeah, because it was before the ESRB.
Yeah,
So
I actually
they-
watched a documentary on the ESRB, like, creation recently. It is amazing how much fucking Nintendo throws Sega under the bus in, like, the hearings. Oh, we don't have any violence in our games, but over here, Mr. Night Trap.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, fucking Night Trap got.
But it's not really that violent of a game.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know how it got, like,
Some
so.
girls get abducted by ninjas.
And well, I think the main part is like they get is like, yeah, it's not even that violent. It's definitely not as violent as Mortal Kombat, but like it got a lot of flack because yeah, there's the scene where the weird limping ninjas like wrap a thing around a girl's throat and it like drills into her neck, and then the feed cuts out just before anything bad happens.
Yeah, that's really tame by the day, Sarah nerds.
Yeah. Well, that was, you know, I went and saw fucking The Exorcist last night, and it was a special screening by, hosted by one of the guys who reviews movies on WGN, and he was talking about how, like, when The Exorcist came out, it was so frightening that they had to have nurses on hand with smelling salts in the theaters because people were, running out of the theaters and fainting. And, like, I saw it and it's like, wow, okay. Like, it's definitely very well crafted. I wouldn't call it, like, terrifying by any measure. It's definitely also unsettling, like, all the weird, like, medical scenes, but, yeah.
I mean, unsettling is its own type of scary.
Yeah, because
that's Silent Hill thrives on.
although I'm gonna say it's unsettling in that you're watching how, like, neurology, like, how neuroscience worked 43 years ago. Like, how they did brain scans before the MRI. And that is a very unpleasant sequence. But yeah, that movie's, like, really amazingly well crafted, and, like, it's interesting now that it's not so much, like, the scares in it aren't, like, really that scary, just because I think...
What about the jump scare involving, Pazuzu? Like, that's on, like, for a brief second of the frame.
I mean, it's not even a jump scare, that's just like, did I see that?
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting, like,
It's a super interesting thing. Like, did that happen? Did I actually see that? But yeah. But the thing that's interesting is, like, it's not like a horror film, but it's interesting in that it's like a drama, and that it's just about how fucked up this, like, everything this mother goes through is. And it's like, it's really intriguing to watch because everybody reacts to this demonic possession as, like, people would realistically, in that nobody believes it's a demonic possession. Like, the mom's like, my daughter's acting weird, I'm gonna go take her to some neuroscientists, and the neuroscientists are like, we think it might be a brain lesion, so we're gonna do an EEG. And it's like, well, the first EEG didn't show any lesions, so we're gonna do a second one. And if that doesn't work, we're gonna recommend a psychiatrist. And then she takes her to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist, like, she seems to be exhibiting some sort of, like, dissociative possessive disorder. I might recommend an exorcism. Like, for these cases, there's occasionally an exorcism works because the person believes in it. And it's a psychosomatic effect. And then the mother's reaction is like, the recommendation of these 80 psychiatrists is I should take my daughter to a witch doctor.
I think it was a placebo.
Yeah, and then even when she finds like the Catholic priest that the movie's been following for the longest time, like, his reaction is, when she says, like, I need someone to perform an exorcism, is like, well, first thing we need to do is get into a time machine and go back to the 1600s before people knew about mental disorders.
Yeah. Like, it was very much, oh, we gotta make sure that, you know, this is actually a demon and not just some mental thing.
Yeah, and then it's like, well... And then the thing that's, like, interesting is it's not even clear whether or not any of the parts of the exorcism actually work. Because, like, one of the things the guy does is, like, to try and show it that she's, like, possessed is, like, he pulls out a vial and says, this is holy water, and, like, splashes it, and she's, like, writhes in pain. And then he talks to the mom and says, like, I told her this was holy water, but this is literally just tap water.
To be fair, holy water is any water that's blessed by a priest.
Yeah, the thing that he points out is that this isn't even blessed. It's just, I just got this out of your tap. So, and she's like, what does that mean? I don't know, but I don't know if the church is going to accept it. And, like, there's so much back and forth about, like, they have to go and, like, they have to have this approved by the bishops, and then the priest that she talks to that she wants to perform an exorcism isn't even the guy who does it. Like, they bring in a more experienced priest who actually has conducted an exorcism, and the other priest is just there, like, to assist.
Well, I mean, yeah, you want someone who has like at least seen this done before.
Yeah, and it's just interesting because like all the parts that I have, all the parts of it that we understand from, and then the actual exorcism of it is like the last like 5 to 10 minutes of the movie. Like, it's like The Shining, in that the part that everybody knows is not even a big part of the film.
There are a couple people remember on The Shining, like the twins and the old Jack all work and no play, and that one brief scene with the guy with the guy with the bear suit going down on that other guy.
Yeah. And
like,
like and all of those are like just small parts in what is a very long movie. Like even
it's a Kubrick movie, so
yeah.
Like, long drawn out sequences are kind of his thing.
Yeah.
You know, which can work for a horror movie.
Well, and the thing is, like, for most of it, again, it's just sort of, it's more of a drama. Like, the actual, like, horror part of it is only the last, like, 10 minutes, when Nicholson is, like, chasing after them with the axe, and there's the actual, like...
Oh, yeah, here's Johnny. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the upper part people remember.
Yeah.
Which people probably remember from that more than what he's referencing.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Yeah. I just remember the Simpson parody where Homer, like, breaks down 3 doors, on the 3rd door goes, "I'm done!" And this is 60 minutes!
Yeah, he's even got the fucking stopwatch. And then they created a running gag in that entire episode of Groundskeeper Willie always getting killed by an axe for some reason. Because that's what happens to the actual, like, Shining guy. He shows up to try and save them, and then Jack Nicholson just hits him in the chest with an axe and kills him.
Yeah, but like in all 3 like shorts in that one, I think Willie died with an axe.
Yeah, Willie gets hit with an axe and killed, and like in the last one, it's like what is it like? Why does this keep happening? Or
I think one of them was the one where Homer keeps going back in time and messing up things.
Yeah, and then the last one is the dream where the teachers are eating all the students, and Willie shows up to save them, and then Skinner out of nowhere just grabs an axe and hits Willie in the back with it.
Remember the Treehouse of Horror where it was like Willie being like Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, I do remember that one. And then that had the weirdest ending because they defeat Freddy, they defeat Willie, and then he just gets off a bus and like starts making like weird sounds at them.
To be fair, I think that's how fucking Nightmare on Elm Street 2 worked. Or like Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is not that great, but Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is kind of good.
Yeah, the Dream Warrior. I don't know much about that's a franchise I have heard a bit about and have not like actually watched.
It works because it was at this time where like slashers were kind of getting cliche, but it still worked because like the fucking Freddy Krueger would tell jokes. And like
yeah, I think that's my favorite.
It was different from the other ones because they just stalked you and like didn't have much personality other than just killing. And he would make tell jokes and then turn fucking Johnny Depp into a blood fountain.
Yeah. Also, Amda, I know that pacing and like ratcheting tension is the main thing behind horror films. It's just like maybe at the time The Exorcist had that, but like 43 years later, it's just like a super interesting drama, and the scary part of it is
The scary part is that if you accept also the fact that either this could happen to you because demons exist, or this could happen to you because actual, like, psychologically things like this can happen. Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of
Like the whole based on true events thing.
yeah.
Which, you know, nowadays, you know, people are like, oh, whatever. But, like, back in the day, people actually bought into that. Like...
Yeah, no, that was one of the other things that the guy was saying was apparently after The Exorcist came out, church attendance went up 600%.
Because, I'll be honest, demonic possession scared the fuck out of me when I was a kid. Like, oh, the demon can just grab you and you're his now. Open priest can work it out. You're gonna feel like your skin's on fire because that's how that demon rolls. Like, oh yeah, this is the worst.
Also, this Vaporeon's trying to vor the shit out of us, apparently.
I mean, that whole, like, you know, it goes to that primal, like, thing of your body not being your own.
Right, yeah.
Like that, you know, same thing that, like, why the Animorphs is kind of like, you know, looking back at it, kind of like even more spookier. Oh yeah, you're conscious the entire time.
Yeah, yeah, you get to experience yourself being a puppet.
Yeah.
Come on, I want this Vaporeon. Just give me this Vaporeon. I want Wingull.
You know, also, you know, I guess, and to a certain extent, the agents from, fucking, The Matrix.
Right, yeah, except there was more that, like, they'll just make you a weapon. Oh yeah, what do you want to call Vaporeon?
Trying to think of a good vape joke.
Just call it Cotton.
Yeah, Cotton! So, and then if we get to Black and White, we can call the Cotton Pokemon Vape Lord.
Christ, there are a lot of trainers.
Cotton.
Just trying to get to Fusion City because my Pokemon are almost
Hold on, I need to go
toast.
back to that website.
Which website?
Gotta see how I gotta go to Vape or not.
Oh, which one vapes?
Oh yeah. I gotta see who the top 10 list is.
Is it still Jared Leto?
It changed actually recently. Like last time I even checked, wasn't Jared Leto. Leaderboards. Chris Angel's number 1. Dane Cook, Jared Leto, Kid Rock, Charlie Sheen, David Spade.
Oh,
And number 1 least likely to vape is once again Michelle Obama. Which one? Vince Skinner, Line Fords, or Lionel Richie?
Lionel Richie.
Alright. That was the expected winner. Eddie Murphy or Gwen Stefani?
Eddie Murphy for sure.
Steve Harvey or Celine Dion?
Ed Harvey. Celine Dion doesn't seem like the vaping type.
The one thing I always tend to see men as more vapors than women. Maybe that's some sexism, or maybe it's reverse sexism because I don't think.
I'll say that I have seen every vape I have seen in the wild has been possessed by a male.
Yeah. Also, I usually tend to lean towards white people to vape, but I do think I have seen my own, one wild vapor I have seen was black, so I know that's not uncommon. It just vaping seems like a very white people thing.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. Also, man, I was freaking out there for a second because I really thought the emulator just crashed when I tried to write state.
Wanda Sykes or Michael J. Fox?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Wanda Sykes. Not because I see her as more likely to vape, just because I don't picture Michael J. Fox vaping at all.
Also, we done for tonight, or did you just say?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be done for tonight. It's midnight. We just got to the next town, so we'll hit the Fuchsia Gym next week.
At midnight tonight, the mighty Draco will be master of Arf.
Orf.
No, it was from an old it was from an Man or Astro Man song. I assume it was referencing something.
Probably. I have no idea. Thanks to you guys for... thanks to Amda and Blind for sticking around and listening to us talk about Gundam for...
We did not barely talk about Gundam.
Okay, we mostly talked to... What is it? We talked about Dragon Ball and...
The Exorcism.
Yeah. Yeah, The Exorcist was the final topic, kind of.
Yeah, but that was like a good chunk. Meaty chunk exorcism bits. A good...
Rich exorcism chunks.
Chunks, what's her face, Blue? Linda Blair, yeah.
Yeah. I also learned that the projectile vomit she had from that was it was pea soup, and it wasn't Campbell's pea soup because that wasn't the right consistency.
Linda Blair, known from The Exorcist, The Exorcist 2, and How to Get Revenge.
Yeah.
How to actually fucking get some cold revenge.
Oh yeah, also you want to like read some crazy shit, read about the director of The Exorcist and all the shit he did on the set of that movie. Which includes things like firing an actual gun to get people nervous to do scenes.
Jesus.
And slapping somebody really hard at 3:30 after doing 30 takes. And I can't remember the other parts, but one of the exorcists, the person who played Reagan's mom, receives an actual like severe injury from some of the stunt work from that movie. In fact, the take they use where she's thrown into the wall is the take where she got injured and they couldn't film for 3 weeks because she was in the hospital.
I guess it looks real then.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing among directors is always use the cut where the stuntman was injured. Alright, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna cut it down here because my voice is also really hurting now.
Next time we'll fight ninjas.
Yeah, we'll fight all the ninjas, and go to the Safari Zone and see what fucked up shit's there.
Remember the Safari Zone?
Remember the Safari Zone?
Remember what... We made a zone where you can't use your Pokemon to capture Pokemon, you can just throw rocks at Pokemon.
Throw rocks and throw food and throw Safari Balls.
This is how people get their Pokemon when they don't have Professor Oak to give them ones.
Yeah, they go to a special Pokemon theme park.
No, they just go out into the woods and throw rocks at shit.
Just like Dad used to do.
You try not to get mauled to death by the various monsters that live there.
Yep.
Well, my favorite things of Pokemon doing like Pokemon trainer things, like the Go-Goats and Skiddos and fucking X and Y, that you just ride around on. That's their job.
Huh.
Your mom's a fucking ride-on racer.
Also, Amda, I believe it's the Twilight Zone movie that has the most, the actual most deaths.
Yeah. There's the fuck up with a helicopter and, yeah.
But, yeah, I can imagine... I didn't know about Back to the Future 2, though.
What happened with Back to the Future 2?
Apparently, a bunch of the stunt people almost died because one of the directors wasn't, like, good on the safety stuff.
Oh.
Also, Amda, you should, if you're not familiar with it, look up the movie Roar.
Oh, yeah!
1973.
Okay.
Which stars 6 people and over 100 untrained lions. Alright, yeah, okay, for real, so thanks for watching, guys. Come back next week for more Pokemon Randomizer.
Yeah.
Good night.